Hello, greeting visitors far and wide, and welcome to this stream of Roll for Good for charity. Thank you so much for joining us and probably bearing with us as my internet in Iowa is dreadful. Welcome and enjoy this one shot of Solemn Vale, a narratively driven storytelling game written by Mark Kelly and published by Dirty Vortex. My name is Fiona. I use she, her pronouns, and I have the incredible honor and privilege of being the narrator for this particular story and for this incredible cast of folks. Now, before I ask our wonderful cast to introduce themselves, let me tell you a bit more about Roll for Good and the charity we're going to be raising money for today. So, Roll for Good is a charitable group of Europeans hoping to do good and spread some joy while streaming tabletop RPGs. They stream 2 events per year, one in May, which is this one, and one in Halloween. In the past, they've raised money for charities such as Mind, World Central Kitchen, Mermaids, and many, many more. And this May, we are raising money for Médecins Sans Frontières, aka Doctors Without Borders. They are the world's leading medical humanitarian aid organization who work in over 70 countries in conflict zones, natural disasters, and epidemics. With your support, they can deliver medical care where the need is greatest. So, if you enjoy our little story here today or any of the other amazing tabletop RPG streams over this weekend, please consider to donate if you are able to. Now, the world of Solemn Vale is a world which could be considered quite close to our own, with a lot of focus on mature dark themes and folk horror. As with all campaigns we run here at Roll for Good, the cast and I have had our session 0, we've gone over our lines and veils, and we have safety tools in effect. However, I just want to say to you, the viewers out there watching us play this little game on this little stage, the visitors or the residents of the village, I just want to give you full permission to keep yourself safe and take a break from our story should you need it. You're always more important than the rolls on the table. Finally, this one shot we are using for this particular stream is called The Crisis of Father Aloysius, one of the main scenarios in the core Solemn Vale rulebook. There are specific content warnings, which I'm going to read out just for now, just so that you know. So, content warnings for this scenario include and are not limited to faith, primarily Christianity and pagan, religious themes, raising the dead, death, alcohol, fighting, folklore, violence, sacrifice, blood, and of course, the very scary 1970s attitudes and clothing choices. I would ask folks who have played through this scenario or even visited Sunvale before, I know there's a few of you out there, be mindful and don't put spoilers in the chat and keep the secrets until after the stream has ended, because if you do put spoilers in the chat, and that's the best thing there, because wouldn't want anything to happen to you here, dearies, because once you've visited Solemn Vale, you never want to leave. Now, I'm going to get the cast to wonderfully introduce themselves, starting with Jess and then going clockwise, if that's all right. I would like them to introduce their player names, their pronouns, and I've got an icebreaker question to hopefully stabilize us in this particular one shot. So the icebreaker question is, if you were in a horror film, what would be your final words? So Jess, I'll hand it over to you.
Oh.
Jess, I think you're muted.
Oh,
Phenomenal. I was. Hi again.
I was like, no, the internet.
No, sorry, Fiona. The problem is me. Hi, I'm Jess Jewell. My pronouns are she, he, they, any. I do not mind. And the thing I would probably say at the end of a horror film would be, "It looks like we made it," before being mulched in some way.
Love that. Thank you very much. Maddy, could you introduce yourself for us, please?
Yes, hello. I am Maddy. My pronouns are they, them. I'm very excited to be here. And my last words in a horror film would probably be make my death sound cooler in post.
Love it. Fondue, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Fondue, he, him, pronouns. Happy to be here. And my final words in a horror movie probably be something along the lines of monster kind of bad, though.
Amazing, thank you. And then last but by no means least, Ty.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ty, he, him, and my final words in a horror film. I feel like at some point in the movie, I'm going to get turned into a monster, And so my final words are going to be less words and more of like a sort of plaintive monster cry. So kind of like a.
Ooh.
Oh, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Very good, very good.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
thank
my
you.
wonderful visitors to Solemn Vale. You're very much welcome. But it would be remiss of me to not answer my own icebreaker question. And of course, as you can tell, I've worked long and hard to think exactly of it. I've had it prepared for days in advance, and definitely not trying to think of some cool words to say just now. I think if I was in a horror film, my final words would be. It would be like a Russell T Davies episode of Doctor Who, where the camera would focus on me and I go, oh, and then shh, and it will cut from me saying a swear word to someone else saying like another word, like shut up. That's
Yeah,
exactly how
that's
I
very
then
good.
it will
That's very good.
cut in the middle of that. So there you go. Thank you so much. I'm now going to tell us the stream. What is Solemn Vale? So Solemn Vale is a quaint little town in the southwest of England, isolated from the world by a jagged coastline and dense woodland, scarred by the mining works of thrashing and rioting at the threat of closure. The close-knit community gives rise to a village mentality, where the newest members, or visitors, sorry, and the smallest fractions become sources of gossip and scandal overnight. It is a land steeped in history, where forgotten sects pray to pagan gods in the dark corners of Thatcher's Britain. Each game is a communal storytelling experience. Our players will take on the roles of visitors to this village, ensnared in the tale of mystery and survival. Guided by myself, the narrator, each story will deliver just a small glimpse into the real underbelly of the Vale and the festering or feeding it. Success is by no means certain, as the weird corrupts and destroys all who confront it. Solemn Vale is a state of mind. It's twisted, macabre, laced with dread and paranoia, and occasionally tinged with dark humour. It is the darkness in the cave, the shopkeep's stern glare, the lone voice urging you forward where every sight, every sound, and every shiver of your spine tells you to turn back. The one final thing we will do before entering the Vale is just to quickly go over the game mechanics for our wonderful viewers. All the players have split 15 points between three abilities of body, mind, and soul. There are two roles to look out for in this game. There's the challenge roles, which are used for skill checks, and influence roles, which are used for narrative purposes. Challenge roles are the main mechanics. To resolve a challenge, one player will attempt to roll a d6 with the aim of matching or exceeding a value of the challenge in question. This may represent them trying to come over a challenge themselves, or it could be several characters working together in tandem. There's no advantage for several characters working on the same roll. Before the roll, the player can choose to assign points from the associated ability to the roll and boost the outcome for a 1-for-1 point. There's no limit to how many points they can spend in one go, but normally they can only assign from the ability that is associated with the challenge. So, for example, if they are brawling a citizen of the Vale, as a threat, only assign points from body, not mind or soul. There is something, though, called weirdness. We'll get on to that in a small moment. Once the points are assigned, when the points are assigned and the data is rolled, if the value rolled plus the points assigned equal to or greater than the challenge value, the player has overcome it. If they failed, well, consequences are to be had. Damage in the form of reducing an ability score or scratching out an ability completely, or much, much worse. These roles, then there are the influence roles, which is where I can determine when a character is affected by a particular part of the narrative. When I do this, I will ask everyone to roll a number of d6 equal to their current weird score and tell us what the highest number is. High numbers don't necessarily mean good. Finally, I just want to quickly talk about my favorite element of the game. It's called the weird pool. At the beginning of each scene, I will assemble a weird pool equal to the number of players plus one. So for each scene in this game, we have 5 points. You can draw a point from the weird pool either before or after you roll to do any of the following mechanics. You can add 1 to the result of the die once you've been rolled, allow you to spend points from a different associated stat, or to spend points in a scene that you are not present for, and a few other bits and pieces. At the end of each scene, the ones in the scene weird pool will go away, whilst your own current ones will keep and will progress further and further as the weird ensnares our players. So it's a bit of a challenge, so to speak. Now, as this is a charity game, we've got some incentives. If you donate £5, that means there's an extra point of weird in the current scene pool, which, lucky you players, some more weird for you. A £10 donation means that there's going to be a weird check for everyone involved. We will try and honour these as much as we can. Anyway, that is all the admin out of the way. My internet is vaguely still here, so hopefully you can all hear me. Shall we begin our trip to the Vale? My wonderful, wonderful visitors. Thumbs up. Amazing. So, the residents of Solemn Vale attend their local church in the parody of worship. Few of them believe in God, and fewer still believe in the principles of the Anglican Christianity. Yet, they still attend Sunday after Sunday. Father Aloysius stands at the pulpit and delivers sermons to deaf ears. As the congregation files out week after week, just before lunch, he despairs. He was sent to Solemn Vale after some indiscretions happened in a previous church. He sees credibility and his own belief slipping through his fingers. The realization that he's probably preaching to as an assembly of pagans, or worse, only serves to wither his already frayed faith, especially as he's become conscious of the many crimes and foul practices in the community, about which the moral authority does nothing, and God seems fit to ignore. Father Aloysius wakes one morning with an epiphany after a night of vivid dreams. He must perform a miracle in his church for all the town to see, and only then will they start to believe again. We go to a train station just outside the Red Ruth, which is a small village a couple of miles or so outside of the main Vale. It is the only way into Solemn Vale. The train tracks don't go that far, and we see our first visitor. Could I get Fondue to describe your character as they step off the train onto the platform?
Yes, of course. A outlandish looking fellow steps off the bus here. He has long brown hair, mutton chops, large framed glasses, but clothes that are clearly not from around here. This is one Tapio Korpivaara, a Finnish tourist who has arrived here, looking around with a very unassuming look on his face. Hard to tell what he is thinking, what he is feeling. He does not let on his inner thoughts to everyone else.
What kind of luggage does you have with you? Are you traveling light?
He has a suitcase with him, yes, but also his jacket. You can see protruding out a notebook that he quite frequently takes out and makes notes into and puts back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You step off the train. On the platform itself, a couple of people, and they head towards the car park. You can see there are many people waiting there to pick up various people who've gone maybe into the city just before the weekend. It's a late Friday evening at this point. No, sorry, I completely forgot. It'll be Saturday, Easter Saturday, and you look around and there's a taxi rank. And you see there's one taxi waiting, and it just says Brownlee's Taxi Service. And you see a woman, heavy set, big bouffant of hair, makeup done, and a cigarette that she holds and sort of having a smoke while she waits for any customers to come by.
Tapio walks up directly to the taxi. Taxi woman,
Oh, hello.
tell me,
How can I help?
where is the closest sauna?
Closest town? Oh, well,
No, sauna. Closest sauna.
sauna?
Sa-
Sauna?
yes, sauna,
Oh, we
yes.
don't have any of those. We don't have any of
Oi,
those, love. The nearest,
perkele.
nearest, nearest would be. You don't need a beauty thing. You look quite nice.
It's not a beauty thing.
Oh, oh. Where are you heading anyway? I can give you a lift. Young, strapping man like you.
Actually, where are we heading? I forget.
It's the clues in the title. It's called Solemn Vale.
Oh, yes. Solemn Vale.
Oh, yes. All right.
Yes,
Hop in.
Solemn Vale, please.
Yeah. All right. All right.
Mhm.
She doesn't come to help you put your bags in the back or anything like that. She just sort of gets
He does
in
not
the
want
car.
help. He puts
No.
himself in. He does not want help.
Yeah, easy enough. It's a very rusty car. You realize it takes a little while to undo the trunk. And
Is
you
this a
get
Lada?
in.
This car?
Is it
it
what?
Lada? Is it Lada?
It's well, it's mine.
No, but is it the, how do you say, the mark of the car? Is it Lada?
Look, do you want a trip in Solemn Vale or not?
Yes, but that has nothing to do with this question.
Look, it's past its MOT. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, Lada. Lada is a
I
very
own it.
good
I
car.
paid the
Lada
insurance.
is
I'm none
very
of that
good.
funny business after last time.
Englantilaiset, saatana. Yes, okay, let's go, whatever.
All right. And you sort of sit in the back as the car starts to move out of Redruth and down into the more sort of traditional, maybe because you've been traveling a little bit, you've sort of recognized the various sort of very English countryside, lots of winding switchback roads which take forever to get down, but even are just like a mile or so. And what are you thinking when you sort of look out at these fields? Like, is there a particular thought that comes to your mind?
Tapio is probably very upset that he has not found a single place with a sauna here in England. He has been traveling around England writing his book and not a single sauna, which is very upsetting because he hasn't been to sauna in weeks, and that is very bad because every Wednesday is sauna evening.
Of course.
Now he can't go, so it's very bad. So that's what he's thinking.
In the sort of rear view mirror, the lady sort of looks up every so often, captures your attention. It's like, so, what brings you to Solemn Vale, my love?
I'm writing a book.
Oh, a writer. How lovely. What's the topic? Is it people you meet? Is it a fantasy? I do love the writings.
It is a tourist guide for Finnish people for England.
A tourist guide. Oh, funny.
Yes.
Funny that. Where else have you been?
Well, been to London, been to Birmingham, Liverpool, all kinds of places. Not one single sauna, perkele.
No, not even in London, the capital of all places. Well, don't you worry.
Ridiculous.
Oh, don't you worry, my love. I'm sure
But
there is
good
a
beer.
beer.
Very good beer in this country.
Oh,
yes, beer is very
yes.
good.
Oh, yes. Well, you should definitely try out the Bowler's Arm. Yes, dear. We have our own special brews there.
Oh, I will try it. He takes out his notebook and takes note of it.
Now, if you want to credit it to someone, my name's Gail Brownlee. I am the matron and the owner of all.
How do you write that? Your English names are so difficult to write.
Oh, it's Gail with a Y-L-E. And then Brownlee, it's like brown, like the colour, and then Lee, as in Lee.
He did not write it right, like not even
No.
close. But he will not say anything. He just goes, but it's very misspelled.
You know, one thing I love about visitors to our little town, you say you went to London, and it's Birmingham's too far even for my blood. Now, Solemn Vale has the best residents. We are the friendliest bunch you can imagine. You know, just go up and talk to any of us. We're quite interested in the. I've not been abroad at all. No, I think the furthest we
Why would
went
you?
was Southport. That was more north than south.
Why would you want to talk to people?
Oh, for their stories. You seem such a fascinating individual.
Mm.
And certainly writers, they need their
Be-
inspiration.
Best place to talk is sauna, but there is no sauna, so.
All right. I would love you to make me a check. This is the problem with having no internet, is that you can't get your big book out. I would love you to make for me a. Let me just find it. Sorry, I had it. I would love for you to make for me. It's called a foreboding check. The challenge rating is
Okay.
3. Foreboding, it lies under your soul. So you could
Okay.
choose right now just to roll the d6 straight and hopefully that you get beyond a 3. Or you can spend
Okay.
points from your soul to add 1 for 1 point before you roll. Or you can take a point from the weird pool and add it.
I'll take a point from the weird pool if that's fine.
Remind me, the points from the weird pool, those refresh every scene?
Yes,
that
they
correct?
do.
Gotcha.
Yes. So currently there's 5, but now 1 has been taken. So you have an extra point if you would like to. One thing I'd say as well is that it does stack what you take from the weird pool. So say, for example, someone else wasn't in the scene. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Now we can.
So sometimes you can take a point from the weird pool and it's stacked. So if you took 2 points from the weird pool, obviously you can get 2 points, but you could spend from a different stat, or you could spend on a scene that you're not present for as well. So that's something to think as well. But obviously later on, if you take from the weird pool, that means other people don't get a chance to.
I took a point from the weird pool and I rolled a 7.
Well, you rolled a 6 and then plus.
I rolled a 6 and then plus.
I mean,
1.
that's incredible to roll a 7 on a d6.
What can I say?
Excellent. The rest of the journey goes in silence. She maybe asks you 1 or 2 more questions, but you feel like her probing kind of stops for you. You don't feel as sort of at the beginning maybe more interrogated and maybe put upon, but as soon as you sort of like batter away with maybe monosyllabic answers, you don't feel as judged and don't feel as uncomfortable by her questions. And she slowly but surely drives you into town. And from the window that you look out, we go to a sports field where a football game, or if you're like me, now a soccer game is happening. Where various sort of not mid-20s, early 20s, sort of late teens men running about in different color coordinates. There's like orange and black versus yellow and black, very color clashing. Lots of shouts from the sidelines, and we center upon another visitor to Solemn Vale who arrived a little earlier. Maddy, can you introduce your character for us, please?
Yes, you see Brian Kettering, he, him, who is also a writer, but of fiction, who is visiting Solemn Vale with his partner, who currently isn't with him, because she's off with her mother on a girls' trip to the beauty parlor, whereas he has been left with his hopefully to-be father-in-law to go to the football match. He is not a fan of football. He doesn't understand the offside rule. He is not what you would call traditionally masculine, especially in the 1970s. He's a gangly, skinny guy in his kind of late 20s. He's got quite a floral shirt on with one of those massive big collars. and he's just kind of sitting. He's got cross-legged, slightly awkward, on the edge of his seat, sort of not willing to let himself relax, because he's getting around to asking his father-in-law to be the big question, and he's very nervous about it.
Yeah, because it's in a sports field. There isn't like a traditional sort of like stadium or stands. People have brought little camping chairs essentially, and again, it feels much bigger for what Brian is, and again, the nervousness and constantly shifting because of that canvas, like going down into the mud a little bit. There's definitely mud on your very nice shoes because you didn't find appropriate pumps for this. And next to you, leaning forward, is what I would describe as a potato of a man. Round, rotund, lots of browns and greens, wearing a big flat cap on, watching it, and every so often shouting loudly, like, come on, oh, and it's just sort of back and forth, sort of not paying any attention to you, Brian, because, as you rightly said, you might have been left with this person. Remind me of his name, sorry.
Grant.
Grant Jones. You might have been left with Grant Jones, but also you might have the inkling that Grant has also been left with you whilst the girls do a trip. And he doesn't really look at you. He's just so like fixated, like his little piggy eyes are just watching back and forth. And clearly he's having some sort of inner commentary from himself. Every so often he sort of like talks to one of the older gentlemen's like sort of standing around and stuff, but he's just sort of focusing on the field in front.
Sir, I'm sorry to. I mean,
Ah.
I don't want to interrupt, but I have quite a big question.
Oh, come on! This is like Millbrook all over again!
I don't know what that means. Okay, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I
Oh,
would love.
Jeff, did you not see that? That was clearly a handball.
Sir, I would love to ask permission for your daughter's
Go on,
hand in
go on,
marriage.
go on. And the team scores. And there's a big, like, wail of applause and everything like that. Grant does not move. Because he heard the words before you scored that he'd like to ask a question. And he just sort of turns round. Again, not necessarily his body turns, just fully like potato style turns around. Sorry, son. You say you have feelings for my Esther?
Yes, we've been in a relationship for a good 2 years now, and I very much I care for
Oh,
her, and I would love to make her my wife.
what are your credentials, Brian?
Well, I'm a published.
My princess means the world to me. And don't get me wrong, dandy man, we've had plenty of your kind come here. And now she is my princess, and she might have some grand ideas, but I put them right. So, tell me straight, what are your credentials for marrying my daughter?
I'm not quite sure what you mean, but I can provide for her financially. I'm a published writer. I've got a rolling contract with.
A writer? Great. What have you written?
It's actually I'm writing a series of novels which are modernized versions of
Series?
the Chaucer tales of Canterbury. The Canterbury Tales, and the next book in the series is The Wife of Bath. So that's
Bath.
yeah.
You come here with your hoity-toity knowledge, spouting tales of Canterbury and Bath. Writer doesn't make any sense. Not like her last one.
Last one.
Stephen. Oh, Stephen. Good hands. He liked football. Sometimes we'd go play cricket together. Do you play cricket, Brian?
I played a bit at school, but they didn't really want me on the team. I kept messing up.
kept messing up. I would like you, Brian, to make for me a similar roll. I would like a foreboding roll. It is only 3, and that comes from Soul.
Okay. I'm gonna roll it straight. I'm not gonna add anything to it. And I got a 1.
Okay, so that is a failure currently. You can take points from the weird pool should you need to.
Has it refreshed since
Oh,
or
don't
is
be
it
silly. I will tell you when it's refreshed. So
okay?
it is currently on 4.
Okay.
Currently, you've got plenty.
I'll take 2 points to make it a 3.
All right, so we're down to 2. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm losing the ability to count whilst pretending to be these awful men. There's a moment where he locks eyes with you, and another goal happens for the other team. He goes, "You know what you have that Stephen didn't, Brian? Stephen didn't stand up to me. He let me walk all over him like the spineless little slug he was. And the fact you'd come here, sit with me whilst we watch sport. And the fact you even asked, because not many men ask these days. You're all right, Brian. Don't care for your books, though.
That's all right. They're not for everyone. Personal taste is a very personal thing. So yeah, I get it.
You know what? You'll do. Esther, my little princess, she has grand ideas. She likes reading. And if you can make her happy with your books and you, I'll deal with that.
Well, she's a very accomplished scientific mind. At the high school, they really appreciate her taking extra time with the kids, doing the science club and that. So, yeah, she's really special.
Oh.
And he leans forward as one can, invades your personal space and goes, "If you ever put so much as a toe out of line, you won't have any toes. Are we coming to an understanding, Brian?"
Yes, sir. I would never do anything to hurt Esther. I will only do my utmost to protect her, while also respecting her agency as a strong, independent woman.
Good. I think a celebration is in hand then. Come on, let's get up. And he sort of like goes, "Let me introduce you to the other lads," and puts a big, like meaty, chunky arm around you. It would almost wrap you round 2 times. It's that sort of thing. And he's much squatter than you as well. And yet you feel this push as you go towards the group of lads, various men of various ages, some balding, some with long hair and stuff, but all of them of a similar, different kinds of potato styles, she says randomly, but you get the sense, an over sensing of beige, boring, but like of a community as such. And Brian, you are slowly but surely taken in to the thing. We move from the sports field to another car, but it's going outside of Solemn Vale up onto the moors itself. Here, the land is much more wild. The sort of residential areas are spotted, few between, a little bit more dilapidated in places, a little bit more broken down and such. And in the car, we see PC Peter Holloway, the regular police constable, driving, and probably in silence. Imagine a man who has based his whole sort of appearance and style on seeing those American TV cop shows. So a big sort of handlebar mustache, coiffed back hair that doesn't quite fit, his hands on the steering wheel, like gripping slightly, probably focusing and try not to pay too much attention to the passenger. Ty, could you introduce your character for us, please, who is driving with the police constable?
Clarification for my sake. Am I in the back? Am I under arrest or am I going? Oh, you nodded.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. You're in the front.
Okay.
You're a guest.
Good.
Although I love that idea and I wish I'd done it now, but no.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is quite the twist. I was gonna go with it. I am playing. You see in the front seat next to this police officer a large, maybe 6'3" square of a man in his 40s. He looks kind of like a 70s version of the very 80s Magnum PI, but older, a little bit more, filled out. Going by the name of Chuck Merchant. And yes, and he is.
And Chuck,
Yes.
what is it like? What are you talking? Yeah, I was gonna say, what are you talking about to PC Holloway as you're sort of going? He's picked you up from a station. He's driving you to well, your new estate.
Yes. Man, I've got to tell you, when I was riding back on the train from Red Ruth, I found this treasure map. All right, it's like a book, and it's got these words in it that I don't quite understand, but it's got all the maps of England, like some small town. So once we're done here in Solemn Vale, I'm definitely making my way out to whatever this is, and I'm gonna find whatever codes this is cracking, and oh boy, this is just gonna be a whole adventure. Gotta say.
He looks across to you, glancing at the title of the book. He goes, "It's in Cornish."
What is Cornish? Like the
Cornish is
ham?
the local. No, like
No?
the local dialect.
Okay. What's a dialect?
It's a language. The some of the more
Ooh, let me see.
traditional residents will
Language.
speak it here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the archivist can help you with that, but I wouldn't worry too much about treasures around here.
No. Oh, well, I mean, I'm on my way to go pick up a treasure. Don't know whose this might have been, but do you know anything about where we're heading off to? I heard that it's like I'm expecting, hopefully, castle, dukedom, manor, something along those
He, t-
lines.
he turns the steering wheel and you enter the sort of gravel driveway of well,
Mm-hmm.
a big farmhouse. There is like uh basically like a stone wall like completely made up around, and he sort of stops the car and goes, "Well, this is it. According to the documents you sent over and that we verified, this is all of yours. The Blythe Manor House. It is dilapidated. You can see bits of the roof falling in, and there's definitely a smell. As soon as you maybe step out the car, your foot squishes into something, and you look down. Country pies or country pancakes, as the dialect is, cowpats around on the drive.
You see merchant Chuck, his face falls for a moment as he takes this in, and then gets right on to lying to himself as he says that this is going to be an amazing thing. Well, look at this. This is going to be, once we get this all fixed up, it's going to be an amazing new place. All right, let's go check it out. All right, is there somebody going to be inside for me?
PC
Butler?
Holloway also gets out and sort of like shuts
Maybe?
the door and looks
Are you
round.
the butler?
He sort of see he's having a look and is staring at the window, seeing his eyes sort of glance over the things as well. Having I see we've got a point in the weird pool. Fantastic, and we do have a weird check. We'll get that in a second. Thank you so much. The PC Holloway, he's a bit shorter than you, Chuck.
Mhm.
And the way he sort of holds himself, he feels quite stiff You suspect that maybe your um, extroverted personality is rubbing him up the wrong way a little bit, but he doesn't show it at all. We're not expecting anyone here. You have ownership of the place. It's been abandoned for, I'd say 6 months, a year, ever since Prudence Blythe went missing.
Oh, Prudence Blythe. Oh, who might that be?
No, the mistress of the house.
Mistress.
I
Did she
guess
live
that's
in
what
this
you call
place
it.
like this? That's a story.
Well, no one really came up here. The Blythes, they have Mr. Merchant, if I
Yes.
may.
You may.
Did you do any research on the families of the Vale before you came over at all?
Not a lick.
You see, the Vale has many old families. As you know what it's like in good old Blighty. Many old families, old blood. The Blythes were one of the oldest families in the Vale, and
Nice.
kept themselves to themselves,
Old money.
and then mysteriously disappeared. Prudence was the last one. So it was interesting when we received your missive to say that you had received a will to say that you were inheriting the place. We were all quite surprised, but we don't want to dismiss old blood here.
Well, I think there's just one thing left to do.
Mhm.
Let's go check it out, right? You got anything else going on?
I'd like you to make for me a foreboding check 3, same again. So it will come from your soul if you wish to spend points. So only 3. You need to make 3.
Okay.
And there is now 3 points in the weird pool thanks to that donation. Thank you, Kieran. And then we'll do the weird check in a second.
So if I'm pulling from my own stat block, then it would be
Soul.
soul.
From
And I think
But-
I'll take one from weird. Or I do
Okay.
that after. I can do that after.
You can do that after. Yeah.
I'll roll this up.
So 1d6.
2. So I will take that one from the weird pool.
Oh, good. Excellent. There's a moment where you lock eyes with the PC, and I do not wish to assume anything about Mr. Merchant's previous entanglements with the law in the States, so to speak. But you sense something with this man. He stares at you, and you're not entirely sure what it is. Whether he's looking at you in a way of like trying to suss you out, or maybe to intimidate you. Eventually, he's the one that breaks eye contact and says, "Sure, I'll have a look around the side, and then we can get the keys and hand over. Just want to make sure it's all in good condition, good nick for you to do whatever it is your heart's desires are."
All right. Sounds good. Let's go take a look.
All right. He, as you sort of goes, "Mind your step," and sort of points down.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cowpats. You don't want to muddy your shoes. And if I may, Mr. Merchant, if you would like, I could show you around some of the more local colour. There's a nice pub in town that I'm sure you would like to meet some of the other locals and stuff. The Bowler's Arm. We've got quite a number of fine ales on tap.
All right. I love me an ale. So, can I ask a quick question, Fiona?
Of course, yes.
Do I see any cows around?
It is. Imagine if you were in, I don't know, Iowa, and you just see a massive sort of farm estate. There are no animals whatsoever around, and the fields around you are overgrown. It would have said in the will that you own this estate. You can't tell where the estate begins or ends. That's the walls are so dilapidated and stuff. There's something that you get to get checked out later, but the view from the top of here is stunning, and you can see from the top of this hill that you're on going down into town where the Vale is where most of the residents are, and Holloway will come up and sort of point down, and you can see like a little strip of green. You know, it's just down there, the pub. You see it, Bowler's Arm.
All right, let's go. So quick spin around the place, then go get some brewskis.
Sure. We move from. Actually, let's do it now. Let's do the weird check now. So, the weird we uses the pool that you have. So, anyone that has weird in their personal pool, you will use that many d6s. If you do not have any weird in your pool yet, that's fine. That means you just got a 1. So, yeah, so I think it's only between Brian and Chuck. So, if you roll your d6s for me, please. I think, anyway, I'm not sure. I know whoever's got weird can roll theirs. No?
I got a 6.
Oh, dear.
Oh no.
So I was supposed to roll, right?
So you've got. I think you've got 1 6 in your weird pool, right?
Yes. So
Your
I've
personal
got
weird pool.
yes.
Yep.
So
So
I
roll
rolled
that.
a 2.
Okay. You rolled a 2. Did you not take any fondue? I can't remember. Sorry. Did you take any
No,
weird
I don't
points from
think
before?
I did. Oh, I used a weird, for
Nope,
the
that's fine.
word
I'm just
roll.
then roll that then.
Ah,
Just roll
okay, sorry.
1d6.
I
Let me know what the
I
yeah.
misunderstood.
Do not worry. I was just like, I'm sure people did take more points. It's okay.
Yeah, I did.
No,
I rolled a 6.
do not worry. We're all learning. Oh dear. Okay. I'll just make a quick note of that, and we'll come back to it soon.
I'm sure nothing bad is going to happen.
Oh, don't enact that stage rule. We move from the top of this place down into the Vale itself, but not so close to sort of green and where the bows are. You can see people are chattering away as service has begun. Saturday service, Easter Saturday. And we go to the church, a very simplistic, small church. It is fairly busy inside. Like, again, people have shuffled their way in, various families, older couples together. The sound, sort of the hubbub of sort of children crying and sniffling. There's often a child at the back going, "Ah!" as they don't want to be here anymore. And towards the back, I would say, are 2 individuals, one of which is one of the school teachers from the Vale itself, a well-liked teacher called Phoebe, I think Woodward, Phoebe Woodward, yeah. And she's got sort of mousy blonde hair, looks quite severe at the moment as she's sort of watching the service happening. And next to her is our final, well, actually our resident here at Solemn Vale. Jess, can you introduce your character to us, please?
Yes, absolutely. So this is Bridget, also known as Birdie. She sat in the pews in the back of this church, even though it is a bright day and there's sunlight streaming through the windows. She is like a shadow, clung to the pew, to the wall, and her figure sort of sits unnaturally in this place. You can see long dark hair that is many straggles of grey throughout it. Her face appears stoic and just not reacting to anything that is around them. Just all this joy, all this listening to the sermons and all of the, what should be the most holiest of feelings within the room. It is not affecting her. It is as if she has closed down. She wears black dress and shawl as if in mourning, and sits quite quietly next to Phoebe, eyes darting and observing.
Because that's what you have been doing, Birdie. You have been observing for the last couple of weeks, going to different places with Phoebe, waiting and watching. You're not entirely sure what for. But Phoebe seems rapt with attention at the pulpit, where our main sort of dramatis persona is. Father Aloysius, an older gentleman, probably mid-50s, early 60s, white-ish hair that's sort of been tied back a little bit, a little unkempt in places, as he is almost like a supply teacher trying to keep people's attention on the readings and keep people engaged. You can hear sort of the sighs from the choir boys sort of like flicking through the books, maybe teasing one another, trying to get them to sort of like balance a book on one's head to see if anything is happening. Father Aloysius stands at the pulpit. He is in the middle of reading a sermon, or sort of doing a sermon from inspired by Philippines chapter 2, so every knee shall bow. And the sort of phrase that you've sort of picked up from this is that at the name of Jesus, every knee should bow, of those in heaven and those on earth and those under the earth. And that every tongue should confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, and to the glory of God our Father. His words, you can see people are like not really paying attention. There's definitely one or two snores you can hear from where you are as well. You can see some of the, you've never met them personally, but some of the church committee, the board. One, Mary Fitzpatrick, is sort of at the front, a sort of frailer older lady who sort of like is sort of looking encouragingly, trying to get, trying to shake awake Ethel or Gertrude beside her. You can see sort of Father Aloysius himself, his hands a little bit twitchy over his big book. And he tries to get attention, tries to look at people and sees that there is no connection at all. What are you thinking in this moment, Birdie? What are you doing?
She should be, with Phoebe, she should be attempting to observe more about the room and about what is happening. But her eyes keep darting over to Phoebe's hands. She sees the scar. She sees that chicken scratch scar on her hand. She takes in everything about this woman next to her. And the hatred that she feels riles up. The entire atmosphere is gnawing at her. She is trying her best just to pretend like everything's okay right now.
You feel that that sort of feeling has been mutual, and she doesn't let it bother her at all. She knows what happened, and she's very happy to let you sit in it. Suddenly, you hear a noise from the front as the book slams shut. Suddenly, it sort of breaks that reverie, the intention, and people looking up. A baby starts crying, as always in these things. And as you look up, you see Father Aloysius stand straight and speaks to the whole crowd. This has gone far enough. You come in to God's home week after week when sin and depravity inflicts and impacts your every actions. There's sort of gentle murmuring happening. How dare you dirty this place with your falseness, your non-belief. I cannot continue this. He sort of looks around, darts around. You can see that the sort of board members are sort of looking at each other quite unnervingly, because from what you have experienced, and maybe a little bit of the intel you got from before, Father Aloysius isn't this sort of person at all. His eyes look incredibly wild, almost like very red in places, the veins sort of bulging on his head a little. Enough. Get out! Out! And he will get down to the pulpit and start to physically pull people up from the pews Again, more crying, more outrage. Some people try and like body shop, and some people are just laughing at this pathetic excuse for a man. Mary gets up. Oh, Father, what is the matter? I think we maybe need to sit down. Don't touch me! As her hand goes to grab his wrist, it sort of touches. It flings her back. You're the worst of them all, Mary Fitzpatrick. Your fakeness and smiles. And you see he leans in close and says something to her which you don't quite catch, Birdie. But the blood drains from her face. You see tears well up into her eyes as she sort of clutches her little bag and runs down the aisle, past you, past Phoebe, who Phoebe has not moved in this whole time, is just concentrating on the front part of the church. And people start to file out, like getting encouraged to go as this father. The altar boys quickly go out. The person that normally does the candles goes to touch them out one by one. He sort of indicates that he will finish it. I would like you, Birdie, to make for me a foreboding check. It's a 3. And that comes from your soul.
Phenomenal. I'm going to put 3 soul into this.
Why do you do this, Jess Jewel? You make me feel so sick when you do something like that. Okay, so you've got a +3 to this roll. I'd also say we do have another point of weird in the pool and another weird check coming up. So thank you so much for that, Max. So we'll put that in.
My thinking is that if I roll a 1 on this, I'm in the house of Father Aloysius, who looks like he's about to go nuclear, and I don't necessarily want to be unprepared for that. And lucky I did, because that was a 2.
Ooh, okay,
so a 5 in total, and I'll leave that point in the weird pool.
Okay, so we still have another point. So we've got 2 in the weird still, which is great. And we'll come to that weird check in a second. Phoebe eventually sort of turns to you and sort of goes, "Let us leave. I did not sense anything here, but
perhaps you have gone blind to this place, but you do not sense anything at all."
Do you question me right now?
Absolutely.
Look, we can't do anything now. Whatever's happening here is... There's too many people around. We need to come back.
Forever scheming with the coven. Forever. It will never stop or end. You act like this is some sort of intervention, like you are here to help. Blind is all you are. Fine, let us leave. Let us do nothing. Again.
Don't forget your place, Bridget. Were we not the ones that helped you after your little reunion?
That depends quite highly on your definition of help. Did you know that today is his birthday?
Oh, I hope you got him a present.
I swear if ever we are left alone together again, one of us will not make it out. Just get out of here, go. We're drawing attention now.
Yeah, you're one of the final couple of getting people out of the thing. Father Aloysius is slowly making his way up, and you can see he's sweating. His eyes, again, are quite red, raw and stuff, and he looks tired. Like, it's not a long walk. It's not difficult terrain in this church, but he looks exhausted, like a man that's aged 20 years in the 5 seconds he's been ranting and raving. And people just go and laugh at him. And outside, they're congregating around. And as you sort of make out, you can hear people going, "He was just like this when he went to see the Taylors. Oh, yes, they went to go see Hattie Taylor. She's, well, God bless her soul, she's not part of it anymore. And he was ranting and raving about, oh, goodness knows what, things in the woods, weird You hear Bible studies have been cancelled, various outbursts around town, all linking back to Father Aloysius. And as the final couple of people go, he sort of pulls the doors to and goes, "Come tomorrow, all will be changed, and then the true faithful will be redeemed." And slam of the door. You hear like a lock and definitely some heavy things put against the door.
I think Birdie will take stock of that and turn back to Phoebe. I don't think there is God left in Solemn Vale. So what the hell is he planning?
I don't think it's him. She looks up at the stained glass windows. We've had instructions. We have to go to the pub. That is when we can intervene properly. A smaller crowd, but fewer casualties.
God knows I could do with a drink.
She turns. "Oh, they say you're paying. Lucky me." And she starts to walk back to the car.
Birdie will follow, and as she does, the same chicken scratch mark that she has on her hand, she will just drive her thumb into it. And just at the point where blood is drawn, she snaps back and pretend falls over her face, and she follows Phoebe.
The crowds disperse from the church, and for all of you, whether it's through forcedness of a celebratory family meal, recommendations to try the local ale from various residents, or a mission from a higher being, you all find yourselves at the Bowler's Arms. Now, the Bowler's Arms in general is a very sort of traditional looking pub, a little bit of thatch roofing, the sort of white and black sort of paneling, Bowler's Arms and big letters across the thing, and a very small door to get in. Those of you who have been here before know the score of that. The bigger bar is locals only, and the saloon is left for the ladies and visitors. But tonight, because of the win of Solemn Vale football team against the rivals of Falmouth, even though they do incredibly well in this year's World Cup, or FA Cup even, the tavern is alight. You can see the various sort of bunting and stuff, a celebratory, a mixture of the football regalia and the tiniest bit of Easter regalia as well. There's a notice board with various bits of notices and stuff. Some of them are ancient old. You can see there's a flyer for a previous music festival so long ago. You can see that there are various taxi numbers, there are various things in them. But more importantly, behind the bar, there is a picture of the previous owner, one Harry Vingo, who tragically found his end some years before. His two children now run the bar itself, whose names I've completely forgotten, but I will find them in a second. And they are busily running about getting drinks for people, and it's quite heaving, this bar. I would say you've all are vacated. They're sort of like booths, essentially. So you can either find a little table to yourself, or maybe for your group. Certainly for Brian, you are greeted by by the rest of the Jones family, and you're all together. And champagne, or Solemn Vale's equivalent to champagne, is served. It's a bit sweet for you, perhaps, but you're giving it what you got. Quickly, the Vingo's children have sort of put out congratulations as an old banner that they seem to have found somewhere. Bit used, bit tattered in places, but put it around your particular booth to celebrate your sort of upcoming engagement. PC Holloway happily gets you a drink, Chuck. And our other individuals are either seated around the bar, maybe the bar area itself, or into a private booth. The night is still young, so out of interest, my wonderful players, is there anything that you would particularly like to do? I'm going to throw it over to you. Is there anything that you'd be looking out for or wondering about this particular early evening soiree before something happens?
Birdie will be on the lookout for new faces, people who haven't been in the Vale before.
That's me.
Yes.
Chuck is definitely going to be trying to interact at the locals bar, and he will be trying to befriend these people, tell them how he is now a lord Blythe, thanks to a recent inheritance, recent windfall, and he is like anyone walking into the place is hearing just this boisterous conversation, and he probably can't find a seat there, but is just like kind of standing behind the people with like a pint glass, and is just talking the ear off of anybody who will listen to him, and even the people that won't, still talking those ears.
What I'd say, actually, because I did forget in my rush, is that this is a new scene. You've all sort of come together. So the weird pool is refreshed. We're going to keep the one that was left over from that wonderful donation. So you've got 6 points to take from that. Yes, we'll do that. And we will. I think you're ordering a drink as an outsider. Oh, I've got a challenge for that. I would like you to make me it's called a pressure or wits check. It's only a 3, and that comes from your mind. So you're trying to impress people and such. So it's D6, and you can use point from your mind if you'd like to.
All right. Yeah, I think. And what's the challenge I'm aiming for?
3.
3. I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to pull any from my mind or body yet, but I may end up taking stuff from the weird pool. So let's roll this.
Straight roll. Let's do it.
5. So that worked out.
You are able to shout above the local hubbub and sort of gain the steward's attention. A sort of slim-looking guy. I'd say the opposite, like the upside-down triangle, if you can imagine that. So, stick legs, bit of a builder's body, and he's a bit of a shaved head at this point. So looks to you and is like, and whatever it is you order, he hears it at least and gives you a decent drink that doesn't have too much of a head on it.
Gotcha.
You suspect if you didn't get that, it would have been very poor indeed. Does Tapia, do you have? Are you buying a drink at all, or are you just sort of holding
Absolutely.
back and stuff? What's your
100%. I'm trying the local special as I was instructed.
All right. Same thing again. Again, you're being maybe a little bit quieter. You're having to deal with this really loud American who's talking about lords and stories and stuff. So it's the same thing. It's going to be a pressure or wits check, which is a 3, and you can spend points from your mind or take from the wheel pool after you've rolled.
Cool. So I'm going to take 1 from the weird pool because I rolled a 2. Bring that to a 3.
Yeah, take that weird. Weirdly, I think maybe you're sat at the bar and you're maybe writing a few things, just keeping yourself to yourself. And the lady so sees you and sort of comes over because you're quiet, and as a result, your presence is actually quite different and a vibe. And actually, people give you space as well. Maybe you do get the odd look, but it's not hostile. It's just a curious, if anything. And you get whatever drink you would like to order, whether it's a special or not.
It's like the
and
local
for both
special
Chuck,
beer. Yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It is a very dark beer. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but you can see on the board itself. It actually isn't on the board. You maybe ask a bit, and the lady says, "Just the thing. One moment." And she goes into the door, which you can see leads to the saloon, and maybe it's a minute or so, and comes back out with a huge sort of like not a tankard per se, but definitely a very particular glass. And she sort of puts it down, and it's dark, black void-esque. And you see that even the head on this is tiny, and the smell of like almost like a chocolatey sort of like dark wood. So our
You know, the
finest.
one thing you English people do really well is this beers. We don't have this type of thing back home. Very special tastes and flavors and scents, all this. Että ei kun kippistä vaan. And then he drinks.
Just before he does, could Birdie just sidle up behind and
Yep.
place a hand just over the cup top? Just I have a feeling you might be new here. And just gently push it back to the bar.
He's very confused, and he's like, what the hell?
Fiona,
Who the hell are you, and why are you getting in the way of my drinking?
Fiona, as a local, would I know what's happening here?
Oh, you've been tricked before. This is yes. So I've got their names now. Susan and Lance Vingo are the owners of this tavern, and yes, you've had a run-in with Lance before. Susan less so, but Susan, as soon as she clocks eyes with you, she sort of goes, "I didn't realize you were still around, Bridget. It's nice to see you back again."
I never left, Susan. And if you wouldn't mind getting this gentleman, who's clearly from out of town, one of the regular drinks, that would be greatly appreciated. And she flashes the chicken scratch and just puts her hand down by her side.
But of course, apologies. And she takes the drink, like takes it out of your hand.
He like
and she
he holds he like a little bit back and forth, and then lets go, and is like,
yeah, it spills a little bit over your hand, and nothing bad happens. Don't worry. But it definitely a little bit on your hand. She goes, "I'll be right back with your drink."
My apologies. They make that kind with bad hops. Really
so what is
bad hops.
like goat piss or something like that?
More like bitumen.
Like what?
Bitumen. It's got
Bitchmen.
Bitchmen, however you would like to say it. Where are you from? You do not sound local to this region.
I'm from Finland.
Finland?
Yes.
And what, pray tell, has driven you to this gully?
I'm a writer. I'm writing a travel guide for England, traveling around, trying to find the best sauna in England, but it seems there are no saunas in this stupid country.
For the first time all day, Birdie genuinely cracks a smile. And just a sauna. You're looking for a sauna.
How do people live without sauna? It is cornerstone of how do you live? Even Sweden has saunas. Sweden.
I have never
no
been to
saunas in
Finland or
England.
Sweden, but
Unbelievable.
oh, you'll struggle to find one here. Solemn Vale is known more for its traditions than it is for indulging in the traditions of other countries. I'll tell you that.
But do you have
Whilst
Virpa
you're
Minon?
having this conversation,
sorry.
whilst you're having this conversation, Susan has made her way back through the mountain and goes to you, Chuck, and goes, "On the house," and puts the drink in front of you, Chuck.
Big old
and then moves
swig.
away. Yeah.
Just like a special drink. Yeah, don't mind if I do. He is probably about halfway through his first drink, and he takes a big old swig.
And yeah, no, and it tastes really nice. Like
just a Guinness.
Oh, it's better than a Guinness. It is. Oh, it's delicious. There's like a tang in it you can't quite tell. It's just. But before you can ask, Susan has gone off. But unfortunately, Birdie, you do not see that.
I think unless you're going to have something happen immediately in response to that, I feel like he, has turned around away from the bar and is kind of like leaning against the back of somebody else as he looks around the room, and he sees a celebration happening. at a table,
you.
and he makes his way over and kind of like shoves his way into the booth to sit down. Oh, what are we celebrating over here?
Oh, no, no, no. You're not
Nope.
doing that without a check, my friend. Don't
Okay,
be
all right,
silly.
yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. It's the same thing again. It actually, I'm going to up this one ever so slightly. It's going to be a 4 wits
Yeah.
check. So again, it comes from your mind. Just again, because like you've got locals and you've done all right so far, but you've just now come in and interrupted a celebration. And Brian, you see this man appear, and maybe I don't want to speak to you, but maybe like, oh, my salvation, and then he comes and sits at your booth. So
Nice.
it's a
It's like
4.
I'm even more trapped than I was before.
So I'm aiming for a 4. All right,
4,
I'll
yep.
take one out of mind for this.
Okay, do it.
Let's just mark that on my thing.
Yes, please.
5. So 5 plus the 1, that'd be 6.
Yeah, no worries. You succeed. There's a moment of like, again, you've used to this now, that you see that there's a very Britishness about as you see like the potato of a gentleman that's also sat there, that's taking up quite a bit of the booth you think is the patriarch of the family. But you sit down, you do the old Chuck merchant smile, and he can't say anything because you've just come in and completely done the situation. What I'd say in the going up to this, Brian, just to go over to you briefly, how do you think this little soiree has gone so far for you? How do you feel it's gone?
I think Brian has been trying to get a moment alone with Esther this whole time, just to check that she's okay, check everything's fine, let her know how stuff's going. But every single time he's tried to sort of like excuse himself or kind of have a private moment with Esther, it's some topic of conversation in which he has absolutely no interest has come up, and he's been compelled to keep talking. And like they've got him another drink, or the food's arrived, or all these sorts of things. So yeah, he's just sort of he's quite on edge.
You think Esther does look to you from time to time and tries to give you like a like, because clearly she's in the same boat as you. She's been away from Solemn for so long, even though it is her place. But she's clearly is like a little struggling sort of thing. But every so often she does get taken off to the saloon as well. You also suspect that she's actually never been to Bola's Arms in this particular room before either. You get the sense, looking around, there's only a couple of female presenting folks in this particular bar, which is unnerving. But again, who's to say anything like that? And as you're about to defend yourself again of why Canterbury are not something decent, like, ooh, Fiona, come on, look over the books. Why not even something like, I don't think Stephen King was around then. Why not something like Catch-22? That's a book that came out then, isn't it? And then Chuck appears and enters the scene.
Oh, so what are we celebrating over here?
I'm getting engaged to the lovely Esther here. These are my new in-laws.
Oh, hey, that is call for a celebration. Wraps arm around Piggy Man, and shakes him.
Yes, I'm Grant Jones. I am and this is my wife, and she's hello. And yes, this is our would-be son-in-law. We're just taking him for a bit of a test drive.
Oh well.
And who might you be, good sir?
My name is Lord Chuck Blythe.
There is silence at this table.
You guys, judging by the looks of all these faces, I think you guys might know my something. I don't really know how we're connected, but Prudence Blythe, there's whole weird whatchamacallit that happened, and now I find myself in ownership of an estate up he doesn't know what actual direction up north from here.
You
but
point in a
yeah.
random direction that is not north, yeah. There is silence, and Brian, you can feel it as well. There's some like sort of like put upon British person who was like, someone from out of town, an American, and then that silence happens. Sorry, you say you are related to the Blythes?
Yeah, no need to apologize. I mean, I think I'm related to the Blythes. I assume that's why the will happened. I don't really actually know what the connection is, but here we are.
Interesting. Would you excuse me? Come, and he sort of takes his wife by the arm, Grant, and pulls her out towards the bar.
Yeah, he lets
quite
him pass.
hurriedly. Yeah.
I think even though there's this strange American here, he doesn't have the context of the situation, so Brian feels safe to kind of go to Esther like, "Are you okay?"
Yes. Sorry. So yeah. Did you say? I'm fine, thank you, darling. Sorry. Did Lord Blythe? That's the title you're going by?
Oh, yes, ma'am. That's the title I'm going to be going by from this
No,
day forth.
I don't wish to alarm you, but the Blythes, they're not good people. And I
Oh,
don't know who you are, and they certainly aren't we don't have lords here.
I don't have lords.
They're an old family. But please, because I heard that Prudence went missing. And
That's what I heard as well. But I assume she passed away or something. That's why I gotta.
we found her body on the moors.
What's a more?
Near her house.
Okay.
She went out one night with
Mhm.
went hunting, and they found her remains. They
There
thought
is
some sort
a
of wild animal.
marked shift as he sort of like catches on, like, okay, this is not just some mysterious thing, but there is a certain level of sadness is what he's picking up from these people. And so he seems to sort of collect himself a little bit. Well, I'm sorry, I seem to have put my foot in my mouth a little bit. This is supposed to be a celebration for you folks. He nods to you, Brian. Uh, I apologize about that. Would it maybe round of drinks, maybe? Maybe we do that.
Um, I think you should go. If people know that you're claiming ownership to the Blythe estate, then you've. She looks around.
Mhm.
Okay, no, they're not here. Look, good sir. I'm sure you mean well, but you cannot stay. If you are connected to the Blythes, they will find you.
They.
Yes.
He looks at Brian to see if Brian has any understanding of what this is.
Just utter blank expression and just kind of looking at Esther sort of with questioning eyes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry for throwing a pallor over this whole thing, but I'm gonna go ahead and finish my drink, and then I'll, I guess, head out. Yeah. And he stands up.
This is a perfect chance to do that other weird check that came in for
Yeah.
our donations. So if everyone can go into their weird pool. If you do not have a weird in your personal pool, that means you scored a 1, and that's the lowest result you can have. So go into your weird pool, roll that many d6s, and let me know what the highest number was.
So when does the weird pool grow? Is it whenever you use weird, then the weird pool grows?
Nope. So whenever you take a point from the scene pool, then you keep it for your own, like your own store thing. The scene's weird pool changes every scene, but your pool
Okay.
will get bigger and bigger because you're starting to use from the weird pool.
Okay, so if I've taken stuff from the weird pool twice, then I have 2 weird in my own.
Correct.
Okay,
yes,
so I
you've
roll
got
so I roll 2 and I take the bigger.
Take the high. Yeah, what's the highest one is?
I've got a 3.
3?
6.
Oh,
4.
4.
4.
Okay. So, as you stand up, Chuck, so saying your apologies as almost taking on British mannerisms in general. Like, I'm so sorry. Maybe bump into the back of people as well, as people are starting to move back from the entrance of this place. And unfortunately, moving back from you, Tapia, who are at the bar, because you don't have a chance to move, the door swings open. And a man that you do not recognize, or I think any of you recognize apart from Birdie, enters. a man dressed in priest clothing, his dog collar off to one side a little bit, hair stuck up, eyes wide, is the Father Aloysius. And as he enters, the room goes silent. And as he sort of looks around, and as he moves into the room itself, people part back. Tapia, you get a sense, you can smell it. There's just a slight whiff of like whiskey, strong alcohol coming from this man. Like he's a couple of feet away from you, but it's pungent. And he sort of comes and he sort of puts his hand on the bar next to you and looks up straight into Lance, sort of bartender there. He goes, "Good evening, Father. To what do we owe the pleasure?" And the Father Aloysius sort of goes into his coat pocket and pulls out like a handwritten note. "I want this put on your notice board. A special service tomorrow that everyone is invited to." And just lays it there, and you can see it sort of sucks up a little bit of that special drink that you had, and you can see on it it's just Sunday service special. All will be welcome and invited, and gives the location of the church and the time. Do you do anything in this moment, Tapia?
Probably look at the paper. Some kind of special event or Easter church, maybe. Do you celebrate Easter here?
The Father turns to you, and you can see his eyes are focusing on you. And he's ever so slightly slide across over your shoulder to Birdie. And then back to you. Do you believe, son?
No, not really. It's kind of...
Why?
Well, let's be honest. Originally, our people wasn't really the Christian types, and then the peoples came over, and they were like, "You have to do it." And then Lalli, he took the axe, and he killed the priest, and all kinds of things happened.
Why do you agree to live in sin?
Yeah, I don't know, it's pretty fun, I guess. Get to go to sauna, get to have the beer, you know, good things in life.
Oh, for all of this, for as terrifying as Father Aloysius looks, the minute he says get to go to sauna, Birdie cracks a smile. Again, it's just like,
Priest man, do you go to sauna? You should go to sauna. It would be good for you. You look a little white skin, you know, a little white skin. Sauna would do good for you.
This is worse than I thought. At this point, Grant shuffles his way back. Brian, you can see again, he's sort of moving people aside. He goes, Father, have I got news for you? And he goes to clap the hand on the shoulder, presumably to give notice of his his daughter's nuptials. And as he touches the father's shoulder, Father Aloysius turns from you, and you see it, because you are right there, Tapia. There's a flash in his eyes. This drunken, pathetic man suddenly changes bodies, changes position, turns around, and he punches Grant straight in the face. Grant, just like the sack of potatoes he is, falls straight on the ground. And Father Aloysius dives on him and continues to hit. And
I'll definitely dive. I'll definitely dive to try to pull him off.
Sounds good. That's going to be a body check. It's going to be a 5.
I know that you said it doesn't impact mechanically, but Chuck also is going to like run in and try to pull him off.
What I will say, because we are coming close to the break, if we'll do this roll, so it will be a body roll, it will be a body inspired roll. If Chuck wants to take points from the weird pool, you can spend points to help with the check.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Question: do I need to take stuff from my attributes before I roll, or can I decide after? I
So
forget.
you can only take stats from the roll before you roll. Once you've done it after,
Okay.
then it has to be weird. So stats before, weird after.
Understood. I'll take
So from your body.
one from body.
Okay.
Can I donate one from body as well?
Yeah, as long as you take a point from the weird pool.
Okay.
Chuck.
Cool.
So-
I'll do that.
So then my body goes down to 4.
Yes, yes.
And-
Your stat goes down to 4.
Hell yeah! I rolled a 4, so that's a
Nice,
6.
you succeed. So you go and the force of this man punching, and you can see as the father brings up his fist, there is blood on the knuckles as he's just going and going. And both you're there first, Tapia, and you're pulling this. Man, the smell. It's worse than just alcohol. There is a stench there of sweat, possibly other bodily fluids, and you pull, and then you feel this another person beside you. You see this American who has been loud all evening, and suddenly, hey there, and starting to pull the father back.
Hey there.
Hey there, I see
Hey.
you. I see you seem to have been in a fight. Want some help? You pull
I
them
see
back.
you're in a fight.
You pull them back, and as this fight breaks apart, we'll take our break just now, and so we'll have 10-minute bio break. Thank you so much. I know we've got some weird checks. Oh, you love your weird checks, Tim, from Ezra and Liz. We'll come back to those in the second part. But thank you so much. If you're watching the stream, thank you. Please, if you're able to donate, if you can, to Doctors Without Borders. What will happen to our wonderful visitors and see if they can solve the crisis of Father Aloysius? Take a 10-minute break, go stretch, go look outside. Think about the consequences of the choices that these players have made. And we'll see you back here in about 10 minutes. Wave until we get to go out. Bye. Hello, 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 and welcome back, visitors, to our Roll for Good charity stream of Solemn Vale. We're here along with a host of other different RPG games across the weekend, raising money for Sans Frontier, aka Doctors Without Borders. If you are able to, please consider donating using the link in the chat. As a reminder, because this is a horror game, I've got some content warnings for you. This folklore horror one-shot. These include and not limited to faith, primarily Christianity or pagan, religious themes, violence, sacrifice, blood, alcohol, and of course the worst, raising the dead, death, and 1970s attitudes and clothing choices. If you need to take a break from our story, please feel free to do so, because your well-being is more important than this dice being rolled or the story being told. So where were we? That was right. The father being pulled off Mr. Grant Jones, who is bleeding profusely from his nose and from his jaw and stuff. And even as both Tapia and Chuck are pulling this guy off, it is a fierce force. It is just punching, and like even you guys can feel it. Like it's just almost like a snake, almost like he's not slipping out of your grasp, but it is strong. It is much stronger than either of you thought. Brian, you're seeing this across the room. You're seeing your future father-in-law on the ground. You hear wails as I believe. Can you remind me what the wife's name is? Okay, I don't have it to hand,
Joyce.
Joyce. You see Joyce says, "Oh, Grant," and wanders over and tries to like pick him up. And Esther sort of is also stuck in place, sort of bystander mode. Birdie, you look around quickly. Phoebe is not with you. She seems to slip out at this moment, so you're on your own.
Under
What are
her
people
breath,
doing?
Birdie mutters, just fucking coward. Right. Okay. The veil eats itself, and Birdie picks up the pieces. She's going to sort of crane her head round to get a better look. How badly injured does Grant look?
Pretty bad. But you think the first blow knocked him completely out, and then preceded the other blows on his face and certainly on the top of his chest have drawn blood. He looks like he's in a very bad way, and only thanks to your two new friends pulling the father off has he not sustained a more serious injury. And it was quick as well, literally almost like a turn.
And the father himself, you said in the church that there was like a bulging vein in his forehead and his eyes were bloodshot. Does anything else look different now, or is this just a raging drunk?
Hmm. I would like you, of all people,
Mhm.
Birdie, to do for me a. Well, now you know this, Jess, but I'll let the rest of the players know and the audience know. So there are different names for certain checks that go under the free stats of body, mind, and soul. And in soul, you have invocation, you have foreboding, and then, frankly, the worst named check of all time, which is called taint. Now, I would like you to do a taint check. It's
Yep.
going to be a 5. So using from your soul, you can spend on that, but that is what it is.
All right. I'm gonna start making people use their own stats. I'm taking 4 from the weird pool.
Oh my god. You're so cruel.
Oh god,
Okay.
yeah. Birdie doesn't care about anyone but Birdie.
What does that bring us down to?
I
that
believe that
0?
brings us down to
To
2, because I
0.
think
Oh, 2.
to 0. Oh, even better. There you go.
Yes, 2
Thanks,
points of
guys.
weird have been taken in the
Oh,
before the scene.
you're right. You're right.
Yes,
Thank you for keeping a track on that. Thank you.
so weird is now at 0. I rolled a 1,
Wow. It actually
so
Wow.
so a 5 in total.
Okie dokie. So, just faintly, you can see like the way this man is like. It's very, I guess maybe not for Birdie anymore, but to see a sort of an older gentleman who is of the faith, of the cloth, react in such a way is so surprising. Like there is some sort of strength here, some sort of beyond what you think he is capable. The vein definitely there. He looks like the back of him is like the back of his clothes completely sodden in sweat. You can see like the disgust of people like pulling away again from the smell, and also from these, and just ever so slightly on the edge of your periphery, you can. There's a faint smell of just not burning, but something just hot and tangy and awful, almost like a manure being burnt. That's sort of like just on the kind of cusp of it, but it's too quick to anything. But you get the sense that the father is not necessarily under his own will whilst doing this.
With that, then I'm gonna gently put a hand on the American and on Tapio, and just as friendly as I can make it sound, say, leave those of the Vale to Vale business, and pull them both back. Just
Is
Hmm.
Father Aloysius like fighting us anymore, or did we like pull him off and he's calmed down? Or
he like the strength is there. It's almost as though like, he's trying to get out of your grip. He doesn't look like he's going to punch or go back down to Grant on the floor.
I
okay,
excuse me, sorry. I think you saying that, Birdie, isn't going to make me let go of this guy, but I think that I will follow your hand, get it, pulling, kind of dragging him away, and I'm going to try to walk outside with him.
Okay. If you're going to do that, I would like you, and obviously other people can join in on this as well. It'll be an invocation check that can come from your soul. The challenge rating is 6.
Oh gosh, okay. I will.
And there's no weird in the weird pool.
Yeah, there's no weird in the weird pool. I'll pull.
so I can't help. Oof.
2 from my soul.
Okay.
That leaves me with 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh. Okay. I rolled a 3, so I got a 5 total.
Wait, I thought you
No,
didn't you pull
it's a
3?
6.
I pulled 2.
Yeah, it's a
I
6.
pulled 2
Oh.
remaining 3. So,
Yeah,
because I had 5
there's a 6 you
originally.
used to get.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that in a second.
Oh no. Okay.
Brian, you just feel as you're watching this, maybe like watching this happen, it almost becomes slow-mo. And I'm going to ask something that I've never done on stream before. I would like every player except for Maddy to take off their headphones and not look at this chat and the subtitles until I wave you to come back.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Ooh.
Hey, Brian.
Hey,
How's it going?
pretty bad.
In this moment, you just feel it. It's at the back of your mind. You're seeing this tussle happen. And a little voice just whispers in your ear. They don't want you here. And you look around to see who is talking to you in this moment. And you realize that the whole of the Vale, everyone in this pub, has stopped moving. And just out of the corner of your eye, you see something, almost like a reflection in the glass. You try and turn, you don't see it. She's lovely. And you'd do anything for her, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course.
Men are so traditional. I don't see you as weak for asking, but you should show them who's boss. That's what a real man would do, not ask for permission. You are the sort of person that gets stomped over, Mr. Kettering. I have a proposition for you. Come to the church tomorrow, and I will make sure that you and your bride-to-be will live happily ever after without ever, ever feeling the judgment of others because they think something of you.
Brian is just absolutely dumbstruck by this. He cannot respond. He's going over sort of quote unquote rational explanations in his head. Has there been something in his food, in his drink that is causing him to hallucinate? Is he having some kind of episode? And he just sort of wants the voice to go away and just is trying to bring himself back into the room.
Maybe you look down at cutlery and you see your reflection. And you see the person speaking. It's you, Brian. You're speaking.
Okay.
Come to the church and believe. I promise you, you will be rewarded for your faith. The sound then comes back into the room and the noise continues. Oh, wave the players to come back.
Come back, come back.
Come back, come back. Don't worry. Oh, I should have guessed all of the time. So once everyone's back in the room with me, yep, yes, put your headphones on. Good. I'll
Hello.
wave. Hello.
Sorry,
it's
I
Phil.
couldn't tell if that was just gesturing.
I know it's a British thing. We gesture all the time. I just want to check in. So I know Chuck is going to try and take Aloysius out of. I mean, we're going to come to that in a second. Tapia and Birdie, are you guys doing anything? The rest of the people are are struck by it. There's a couple of yeah, right on you. Yeah, Lord Blythe, good job, mate. Yeah, sort of cheering you
Yeah.
on. Yeah, but no one's helping.
I'm gonna rip Birdie's hand off me. I'm like, I don't like that she touched me, and then just kind of stare her down, and then let go of Father because I see that he's not going back in anymore.
What about yourself, Birdie? Is there anything you're doing?
As her advice has been sort of both shrugged off and ignored, the little faith that she had in her eyes sort of vanishes, and she's like, I guess the Vale has new victims this time then. Do what you will. and she's going to go back to her booth where her drink is sat.
Outside, Chuck, you are in sort of a cold evening. It's not late by any means. And as you are moving the father out, his fight diminishes rapidly as you leave into and the cold night air hits your face and the father's, and you just feel like him sag in your arms, and there's this almost a sense of like he starts to heave slightly. And you start to realize that he's crying.
Oh, hey, oh, hey. And he just starts patting him on the back and trying to lead him over to a bench.
Oh,
Ooh.
oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what else to do.
Oh, I mean, I've got to say, punching people isn't going to solve some problems, but not a lot of problems that a priest works with.
I can't save them.
Oh, not with that attitude.
I've tried so hard. Ever since I moved, I can't hear him anymore.
He looks up. Hey, man. Let's just sit down, all right?
There's somebody else here.
What do you mean?
Tells me things to do things I don't want to do.
Well, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do, all right? You never have to do anything you don't want to do.
You don't understand. All I have is this church. All I have is this, and the board are voting tomorrow to. Not like I've tried everything. The people here, they're corrupted, rotten from the core.
Yeah. Well, that happens sometimes.
No, not for me. I can't let this happen again.
What do you mean by that? Again, like, is this that the stuff with that black lady?
I have to do it. I have to prove to them. I have to make them believe.
Do you have somebody that can, like, do you need help?
No.
No?
No.
You sure? I can walk you back to the
lost.
chapel or whatever.
I'm absolutely fine.
Is he? Does he seem like he has pulled himself together?
I think you would make the connection that he just said your name and you never gave it.
Oh, Ty did not make that connection. How
You can see he relaxes a little bit and he stops shaking. I have to go call on someone. Could you walk me there?
Sure.
Just a house call.
Yeah, all right. He is going to stand up and really try to, standing up from that bench, trying to like raise to his full height and full breadth and really try to like impose on this guy. But like he's not trying to scare him, he's just trying to make it known, hey, I'm much bigger than you. Don't try that what you did in the bar with me. That is the vibe he's trying to give.
Sure. I will make you do it because you're trying to be physically imposing. It's almost like it's not really a bodily thing per se because you are a big guy. There's no doubt about it. But I think this is more of a pressure check of some sort. So it's just going to be a 4, but you can use points from your mind. There is no points in the weird pool. And I know we've got 2 weird checks incoming.
I'll take 1 from my mind. I don't have a lot of mind.
Oh, that's a shame.
So. 6, 7.
Nice. He looks you up, like, as you sort of like, again, you're not sort of being bravado. You're just sort of
Yeah.
like checking yourself,
Mhm.
Spectacles. The other word, wallet and watch. Sorry, I realized where I was then. And you sort of make a mean to be like what you look like.
Mhm.
Sorry, you're right. You just helped me. I'm literally a street away. I was just to call upon the head of the board, Mary, and I owe her an apology. And he puts his hand in his coat pocket and he brings out what looks like a bag of like treats. He goes,
Mhm.
she left this at the church for her little dog. It's I just wanted to give it back to her. But if you could walk me, I'd appreciate it. But I don't wish to. You can hear the noise as started back up in the Polar's arms. It's quite loud.
Mhm.
But
I think he's going to want to walk him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You walk, and within 5 or so minutes, you get to the house of a very, very beautiful house. These houses in the centre of town, gorgeous, proper traditional Britishness, like small, compact, but little garden, some nice flowers, well attended. You can see there's light coming in from the main room. The curtains are drawn with the TV clearly on, like sort of stuttering a little bit. 12-inch screen, that sort of business. He gets to the gate, and the father turns around and goes, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put upon you in such a way, good sir. And if you would like, you are more than welcome to come to the service tomorrow. I would appreciate seeing a friendly face in the crowd."
He clasps the father's shoulder, and he looks at him and he says, "Yeah, I'll be there. Just don't get into any trouble tonight, all right?"
I won't. God
All
bless you.
right. And all to you. And he lets go and
That's,
turns
yeah.
away.
Okay. You walk away. What you don't see. The father does not go to the front door. He goes to the back door and lets himself in. Rest of you at the pub. The hubbub and excitement. Grant is brought back around eventually. It takes a good couple of minutes. There is talk about getting an ambulance, but there's no hospital in Solemn Vale. It's one of those towns where anything you need is at least 2 towns over. He's put next to you, Brian. Like, you obviously are trying your best not to be in his space a little bit. He's very drowsy. Esther and Joyce are going back and forth with water and stuff like that. But is there anything that Brian is particularly doing? And the same question goes for Tapia and Birdie as well, because you're obviously recovering from this incident. But I'll go to Brian first. Is there anything you're doing in this moment?
I think Brian is trying to be supportive to Grant in a way that will not be perceived as coddling, which is quite a balancing act for this very gentle man to try and pull off. He's kind of going, "Well, you took that like a champ, mate. You
He's caught
really
me by
held your
surprise.
own there."
Yeah. I think. Yeah, it's not like in the rugby, eh? Always had him. But father and all that.
Yeah. You had
yeah.
you had to consider the religious implications. And
Yeah.
he,
No,
yeah, and Brian tries to catch Esther's eye again, and can I have a word with you for a sec?
yes. Sorry, we'll go get some more bags.
Yeah,
Sort of
get some
indicates
ice.
to, like, yeah.
While they're
She sort
about
of
to
pulls you through. No, go for it. Go for it.
while they're about to pull out, Tapio comes over with a shot of something. I don't know what the locals would drink as a shot. and then just
Ooh.
looks at what was the name of the person who got punched?
Grant.
Grant is, hey, and then puts the shot down and kind of slides it over and just nods and then leaves.
In that moment, you see Grant have a sudden new appreciation for a man he's never met, and maybe a sudden regret that that man is not marrying his daughter. You go through to the salon. Esther sort of pulls you in. She goes, "Are you okay? Oh, I'm so this honestly, this doesn't happen. I promise you. I know I said it, they're a bit weird and stuff here, but gosh, that's really bad."
I'm okay, I guess. I heard someone talking to me. Everything went quiet, and someone was talking to me and told me to go to the church tomorrow to get my reward. And I just, I've never had sort of visions or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty down to earth kind of guy.
Yeah.
So I think there's something about this place that is messing with my head, and I obviously want to make sure your dad is okay. And but I think we need to go pretty soon.
Brian, look, I know it's stressful. I know you were really nervous about this, but you don't have to lie to me. Like, they're just my parents. We don't have to come back that often, please. Look, you don't have to lie about this sort of thing.
I'm not lying. I
know you were stressed
promised
and
you.
stuff.
I promised you that's
It, if
what
it's the
I've.
book and the draft about the Lady in Bath stuff, like we can work on it together. I'm not much of a writer. Please, this is really important to me.
Of course, if it's expected for me to be at the church tomorrow and to do the traditional thing, then of course will do it. I'm just trying to tell you where I'm at, so I'm not leaving you in the dark.
No, and she sort of grabs your hand and squeezes it, and I'm like, you've done so well, and I love you so much.
I love you too.
And like, honestly, I have no idea how you coped with the football. That is a test in itself, and
Thanks. Yeah. I thought I was really gonna be in the doo-doo for that one, but then it kind of all came back around towards the end.
Yeah.
And he actually seemed to appreciate that I asked. So
yes, yeah, I said he was quite traditional.
yeah. But of course, I know that it's a choice between you and me, and that's the most important thing. And it was more of a courtesy than a actual request.
I love you so much. And she sort of puts her forehead to your forehead, and just like holds you there for a second.
Yeah. Brian sort of puts his arms around her and just sort of, just tries to be in that moment and forget about everything else, and then finally breaks off and does a big sigh and it's like, right, we better go check everyone's okay.
Yeah, you might need to drive home, and God, that will be a nightmare. He's a terrible backseat driver.
Oh
So
God.
just be ready for that. Yeah. Going back into the bar, Tapia, is there anything you'd like to do?
I'll grab another drink.
Okay.
And then go sit with Birdie.
Mm-hmm.
Just sit down and just not say anything and just.
Why are you really here?
Huh? I'm a tourist. I'm here to write about the place.
Have you heard any of the stories of Solemn Vale? Did you do any research before coming here?
Nope.
They never do. I will tell you one thing. You need to leave.
Well, I will leave, yes, but first have to spend the night, walk around a little bit, write about the things, and
I'm not
then
saying leave tomorrow. I'm not even saying leave in a few hours. I'm saying leave now.
well, that's kind of rude. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's not really that rude. But where will I go? There's no buses here anymore, and trains probably don't go. And it's not winter, so I can't ski anywhere. And
Walk,
do you even know what skiing
run.
is? I'm not going to start walking. Ridiculous.
You can get out. There are ways.
It will be
Some
fine. You are
people.
worry too much. Worry too much. English people always worrying about things.
The amusement that Birdie had for Tapio has
Mm.
long since vanished now, and she
Yeah.
just picks up her drink, finishes it off, pops it on the table, and looks at you and says, Tapio, was it?
Yes.
You have been warned. Do not come to me when this all ends in tears, little writer. There is another writer who came here and never left. And she's just going to get up and leave.
Then Tapio takes a bit. You must have liked the place a lot.
Yeah.
Or like Birdie hears it and just fully face palms and just and like
Yeah. You try
out of the
so
pub.
hard. Yeah. Tapia, because you rolled a 6 earlier on your weird check, I'm going to ask the same thing. Can every other player other than Tapia take off their headphones and not look at the Twitch chat or subtitles?
Fine.
So what am I rolling? Sorry.
No, you're not rolling anything, my friend. You're getting a
Sorry,
special.
I misheard.
No, you're getting. It's no, you're getting a special whisper because you got a 6 on one of your weird checks earlier.
Not only on one of them, 2 of them, in fact.
Oh, I've given you one already, so this is your
okay.
second secret bonus one. As Birdie leaves, the silence around you, like because you're left to your own devices, you get the still curious looks every so often, but nothing so much. And as you're sort of looking down at your drink, you hear just a gentle voice, a little whisper.
Mm.
Crying shame, this place. Not having. You look around, there's no one there. Not having the amenities that you're looking for.
Stand up and just like, who's that? Who's that?
Down here.
Look down.
You look down. Don't see anything. Here. In your glass.
Mitä helvetti?
You look down, and in the sort of dredges, like a tiny little bit of like dark ale there with the little bit of suds and smoke. You see like what looks to be like a face made out in the suds, like a very crudely drawn, like sort of wide smile, like what I would call like a potato smiley, but in alcoholic sense.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
It doesn't really move that much, but the mouth goes up and down a little bit. You're looking for something spectacular, a miracle. Come to the church tomorrow. Something to write about, to really bring visitors here.
Good
That's what you're
idea.
looking for,
Would
right?
be good for the book. Yes, good for the book. Good idea. He's literally talking into the drink.
Yeah. Nobody bats an eye. If anything, it looks like you've had a little bit too much to drink. You should come. There's going to be a proper miracle.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
Thank you, drink man.
Call me Abaddon. That's
Abaddon.
my title.
Okay. Pippis.
See you bright and early.
So,
Gone. Whoop.
see you around.
Yeah. Bring everyone back. Slowly but surely, no one's looking at me as usual. Nobody's looking. Nobody's looking. And that's everyone dead except Maddy. Oh wow.
Come
I
on,
made
Maddy.
it. Made it.
You can do it,
Maddie,
Maddy.
Maddie,
Maddy.
Oh, come on, Maddy.
Maddie.
Maddy.
Maddy. Maddy. Hooray.
Hooray!
Hooray. So the night continues, the bar slowly closes up. Those people who are out of town, there are rooms you probably have booked here at the Bowler's Arm, because there are some very straight here. I don't know about Chuck per se. Like, obviously, you're more than welcome to go back to Blythe Manor. Nobody seems willing to drive you up there. There is a taxi rank, of course, but there are places here that you can spend the night in. And Brian, there is a very we'll cut it for time, but the more awkwardness of driving back through country lanes. And I don't know if Brian does drive or drives well. Maybe you've just got your license, so it's a little bit of a bandied driving thing with Grant in the back swearing every so often as he hits his head on the seat in front of him, perhaps. Birdie, where do you go?
Birdie wanders through the center of town towards a pretty well-to-do neighborhood, or it used to be. This sort of area's sort of become a little bit dilapidated in recent years. She walks past a small house that she recognizes. There's a Christmas tree, an old Christmas tree outside it. She keeps walking, and she eventually reaches Balcom Mansions. And she looks up at it. It's completely dark. No lights in the windows. Moss is beginning to sort of gather at the edges of the sills, and the brickwork is crumbling. And as she walks in, she just mutters under her breath, "I'm back, Richard." And that's where she goes.
As you go to shut the door, you see that there's been a note pushed through your letterbox. A note, again, you've had many weeks, and you recognize the handwriting as Phoebe's, saying, "Tomorrow at the church. Be there."
She scrunches it up, and "Your wish is my command," throws it over her shoulder, and shuts the front door.
All right. Before we transfer over to the final scene, we do have another point weird pool from Liz that will go on to the next scene, just so people know. But we do have 2 weird checks to check. So I'd like everyone to roll me a weird check of their current pools, please, and let me know what your high score is, or highest number
Okay.
is.
That's a 3 for me.
3.
3 for Brian. 3.
5 for Birdie.
Five for
I
Bertie.
rolled a 3 and a 3, so 3.
Oh, 3. Oh. The team 3 sleeps quite soundly. There isn't much in terms of you've all it's quieter outside. People are maybe a bit more shaken up by it. People are still pleasant to you as you make off, like sort of like say your goodnights. Grant and Joyce make their excuses to you, Brian and Esther, and so you have a little bit of a night to yourselves. They do insist on separate bedrooms because that is tradition. But Esther comes and sneaks in and stays with you to the early hours before sneaking back out because she doesn't want you to be alone. And as you sort of hold her whilst you're under the covers, she also is a bit. You can feel that she's sort of worried and tense because maybe not just about the encounter, but the interaction she had with one Lord Blythe. Birdie. Oh, Birdie. Maybe you don't sleep. Maybe you don't feel like you're on edge. Something wasn't right. and you saw something wasn't right. And then on the corner of your sort of perception, as you're making your way up to bed and you're trying to, maybe you're not in bed, maybe you're on a chair, trying to like concentrate on your previous writings as well. There's a sound of a dog barking very high.
She'll go and investigate, maybe to the back door, look into the garden.
Yep. You can make for me. Well, first of all, you do see it. Just at the corner, like, and it's maybe caught a little bit on the bush. You see like a very small, what you probably would describe as a crusty white dog, like a tiny little pooch. But it looks quite scared, and it's. I would like you to make for me a pursuit check, so that this will come from your body. It is a 6. And
Right.
I'll say for the sake of it, there is one point in the weird pool just now, thanks to our wonderful donation from Liz.
All right. Just to double check, if I use up all of my points from my personal stat, do I scratch that stat out completely, or is it if I go over that amount?
No, as soon as you lose all the points, that ability is scratched out. If you would go to scratch it out again, that is your character is taken out of the game.
Oh, okay, phenomenal. In which case, I'm using all of my body. So that's all 3 of my body goes into this. No, self-preservation is not my strong suit.
No,
shan't. It's a 5 on the die, and then that +3, so it rolls over.
8. So yes, you succeed. Yes, you go to cat this dog. Essentially, it gives you a bit of the run around, and when it picks you up, it bites you quite hard. It is scared. You look over it. It's not. It's just like you pick it up, and it's clearly quite scared and shaking slightly, as if it's seen something. On its collar, you can see the name Oscar, and it's sort of like, and it sort of calms down in your thing. But you bring it indoors again. You maybe tend to your wounds a little bit, and you can see it's clearly been some hours. It's like middle of the night, cold, and the thing you notice is that as you're sort of cleaning yourself up and you can see itself, you think for a second, has it been injured by the branches or something like that? And you go and you can see there's a little bit of red on it, on this dog Oscar. And you go check it over, no scratches on it, no nothing. But there's definitely a blood stain, a slight blood stain on the dog's coat.
She'll go to the kitchen sink, get out an old rag, and just sort of mop it off, and just gently shushing and cooing it as she does, just holding it in her arms. Oscar, where on earth have you come from? I've not seen you around before. Why are you covered in blood, dear thing? Why? This is a sign.
The night passes. You calm the dog. It takes a couple of hours, and eventually you and Oscar go into an uneasy sleep. He doesn't leave your side through this, and you sort of wake up with a sharp tap door as you've been collected for today's service.
I'm going to bring Oscar with me. Is that allowed?
Chekhov's puppy.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna put it this way: you're going to have to smuggle a dog into this, but that's been done before, I'm sure.
I wear long skirts for a reason.
A new scene has started, folks, and I did forget, so apologies again. I'm still always worried about the internet. From the previous scene, you would have gained 1 point back at some point, and you will gain another point back at the end of the scene as well. We won't go into the facets and stuff like that, unfortunately, because we've just not had time to do it. We would do that in a longer session. So you have 2 points to put back in either one of the 3 stats you have.
Okay.
So I do that now.
Okay.
So, for expediency's sake, and because you've all been invited to go to church, for one reason or another, you do find yourselves there. Whether or not you wanted to go, maybe there is some intrigue, maybe you were forced to go. Maybe there are some other beings that want you there. You end up outside, and certainly Birdie from yesterday's service, like you knew Sunday service would be obviously much maybe better attended. But there's loads of people here. It feels like the whole of Solemn Vale has turned out. Maybe from what has happened in the previous night, the sort of talk of a fight, and that the father invited all to see a miracle be witnessed. The doors are currently shut.
I'm at this point absolutely just gonna like nudge Phoebe and be like, still not sensing anything? As sarcastically as she can manage.
She sort of turns to you and goes, "Fine. Whatever happens when we go through there, we have to bind it."
Yeah, sure.
Trust me, you don't want to see what this thing can do.
The last time I trusted you or any of your kind, I lost the single dearest thing to me.
Oh.
So how many
Then-
will die today because the coven demands it?
The coven doesn't demand death. It demands we rectify a wrong.
Your definition of wrong. But let's see how these poor fucking tourists deal with whatever's about to unfurl.
Brian, you have arrived with the rest of the Jones family. Grant has put on quite the display, quite the performance, as you can imagine. Various spotted handkerchiefs over the sort of tomato of a nose now. Sunday finest, though. Again, you look quite smart. Again, I imagine Brian like it's not traditional like country smart, but you look pretty dapper, and you turn quite a few heads. Some of the other women talk, and I was sort of muttering and sort of like looking at you. There may be a little wave. Esther firmly has you by her side, and she's like, yeah, almost like showing you off like a trophy husband to be, so to speak. I guess my question to Chuck and Tapio, like, where would you be in this congregation? There's lots of groups of people around here. Would you announce your presence? Would you like sidle in and conceal yourselves? I'm just open it to you guys.
Tapio?
Yeah, Tapia would just arrive and then just observe and write stuff down, but not say anything to anyone particular.
Fair enough.
Chuck is positioning himself towards the front of the church. He's got a anybody watching him would notice a little bit of a stiffness to him that came from wrestling this man yesterday, and from being just up fairly late. But he saw this priest yesterday go crazy at just so out of the blue. So he wants to be towards the front so that if anything else happens, he can jump up.
All right. Yeah, you don't want to, I guess, rather than the word crazy, maybe a bit wild, so to speak, just to keep on that sort of terminology.
Yeah. But he's not like he doesn't have like a sort of guard like disposition.
Yeah.
He just has a sort of relaxed, like he is trying to make small talk with people, that sort of thing. As they
interesting. Okay. I think for you specifically, and then we'll get onto the others in a second, I'm going to get you to do a specific kind of roll, if that's okay. I'd like you to do, for me, a wits roll. So this is coming from your mind. The challenge is 5. It's easier because you were involved with helping Father Aloysius, and people saw that. So it is a 5 currently. And because it's a new scene, just so folk know, is we've got the refresh of the pool, which is 5, and we still have that 1 point from previously. So we have 6 weird points in this scene.
Gotcha.
Oh, thanks, MacBook, for doing that. That's not what I was doing at all.
I will pull 2 from my mind, and
Okay.
we'll see what happens. So this is going to be
All right, so
5 plus 2, so 7.
Ooh, people crowd around you, Chuck. Maybe you don't flaunt the title as such, and people are like, "Oh, an American! How wonderful!" Well, and they'll tell you all the stuff that, again, that Birdie sort of found out yesterday, that the father had been acting very erratically, and we cancelled Bible study classes, and he did some visitations with Hattie Taylor, and he was ranting and raving about witches of all things, and terrible. The one thing you would notice, though, actually, no, you wouldn't notice, unfortunately, because you weren't there at the church at the beginning. I apologize. The doors, you can hear them unlock, and they start to open. I would like everyone to. It's going to be another wits check. You don't have to do it, Chuck, because you've sort of ingratiate yourself with. I would like to call the elderly lady board. They're all there with you. They actually, come sit with us. Yes, absolutely. We
Yes.
love Americans. Tell us. Do you say route or route? Like terrible, terrible stuff. But for everyone else, I would like them to do also a wits check. It's going to be a 5, and that will be from your mind if you wish to spend stats on that, stat ability points on that.
I'll spend 2 on that.
All right.
Just for the record, after the stuff happened yesterday with Blythe, he is not throwing that name around anymore. That isn't to say people don't know, but like he isn't doing it now.
No worries.
Yeah.
I rolled a 6 for a total of 8.
Okay, 8. Sorry, Jess, you're
I'm muted. I'm an idiot. Birdie used 2 of her mind and is also going to take 1 from the weird pool because she rolled a 2.
Oh gosh. Okay. Ooh, okay. And Brian, you're also muted, Brian. Sorry.
Thank you. I rolled a 1 and spent 2 from mine, so I'm going to spend 2 from the weird pool.
Ooh.
Oh my god, we are depleting that so fast.
I believe we have 3 currently.
3 in the pool, yeah.
All right. And we still have 1 weird check left to honor. All right. All of you see this, and the doors open into the church is very dark from the sort of beautiful light coming in. And you are pushed along with the crowd coming in, and you'll sit wherever you would like to. Father Aloysius is at the door, and he's greeting people coming, but he looks, it's like a different man, completely changed. He is not stooped or crouched. He is very tall, actually for his full height. He's smiling, and he's sort of waving people in and like greeting people. It's good to see you. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate it. But doesn't recognize any people that sort of took part in the encounter at the pub or anyone from there. Grant Jones, weirdly, Brian, hides behind you slightly as you go in. But Esther like sort of introduces you to the father and goes, we'd like to make an announcement maybe at the end just to say that we're thinking of getting married. And wonderful, and holds out a hand to shake with you, Brian.
I will
just sort of
reciprocate as politely as I can.
It's actually fine for once. Like normally you expect your hand, you maybe have that expectation it's going to be crushed instantly because men have to show their dominance through, certainly around here with their handshake. It's cool to touch and feels quite strong. I'm so happy to have you here, Brian. Welcome to the flock. Please take a seat near the front if you'd like. We want to fill from the front. Fill from the front, and sort of like shuffles people into it.
Birdie is
Birdie,
absolutely.
you're sort of maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say she's right at the back. She is as close to the door as humanly possible.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Then you would notice then that as soon as everyone is inside and settling down, the father shuts the doors and turns around and sort of nods to everyone as he walks down. And all of you seeing this, again, maybe your focus is on the father, that you don't necessarily look towards the front straight away. But Birdie, the difference is between yesterday's service and today's service is that there's a big screen, like one of those movable street screens that you have, separates sort of the central part of the church, which does have a name, but I've forgotten it right at this moment, from the back of the church where the organ would be, or the sort of stained glass window would be, and where the altar boys and girls would sing, the choir. It's sort of there. It's fairly big. And there's a hush that comes across everyone as we follow the father come down. And If I get my notes. He takes his place at the pulpit. And I would say, Birdie, as well, when the father passes you, you feel a slight sort of, I mean, I don't know where you put the dog, but presumably under your skirts. The dog sort of is shaking, suddenly shaking and whimpering slightly, just under its sort of breath, whimpering.
Is there, as this happens, as I'm right at the back of the church, is there any way out? And have the doors been locked?
But it sounded like when the doors shut, there was a definite like thud.
Click. Okay.
And at this current time, you can't see any big doors to go out. You can see there are other doors that lead off to various chambers and stuff, but I mean, I don't wish to assume knowledge of Birdie's previous sort of expectations or experiences within churches, but you don't necessarily know the layout of this one.
Okay.
Father Aloysius gets to the pulpit and gets to the top. And as he gets to the top, there's like the silence rolls over you like a wave. Behold, my friends, family, and believers and non, you're welcome here. Today's sermon is on the joys of life in the resurrected body, from Heaven, chapter 1, Corinthians, verse 15. We shall not all sleep, but we all shall be changed. In a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet. For the trumpet will sound. He starts to walk down from the pulpit at this point, towards the screen. And the dead will be raised. And he pushes the screen aside. And you see a cross, a wooden cross. You've seen them before in other churches and stuff, you know, the big sort of wooden cross, massive. And normally they have a depiction of Christ being crucified on the cross. There is no cross, though. But there is Mary St. Patrick, or Fitzpatrick, even. The board.
Sorry, can you say that
Head
again?
of the board in the church. Yep. Mary Fitzpatrick on the board. Her hands tied to the cross. Her head down, and what looks like blood seeping through her clothes. The dead will be raised again. He continues.
Chuck
And-
stands up like this. This is there's a moment where he like is going to start stepping forward, and then he turns and looks at the rest of the congregation to see are other people reacting to this?
Tapio is
you stand up to
furiously
look around.
riding.
Yeah. You look around, Chuck, and you see that the congregation is observing, like, again, bystander mode. They are fear, revulsion. Some people are laughing. They think it's a joke.
From the back of the
But you're
church, you
quite
just
close to
hear
this,
a I fucking told you so.
I think in another scenario, if he hadn't seen what this guy did yesterday, the pure peer pressure of this might make him sit down for a moment and just ride along with this. But as it is, he is going to rush forward and try to grab the priest.
Oh.
Ooh. He continues on as you were rushing towards him, and he draws from his pocket a knife.
Huh.
And so shall we be changed. And he goes to stab Mary, but you're intervening.
If I can, yeah.
Absolutely, you can intervene. Let this check. Yes, this is going to be actually. Well, first of all, let's do you're seeing this, all of you, stunned in fear, apart from Chuck. I would like everyone, including Chuck, to do a foreboding check. It comes from your soul. The challenge rating is 7.
7. Oh
Oh,
gosh.
Right.
I'm gonna take 3 from my soul.
I'm also
I'm
going to
gonna-
take 3, and that crosses
3
it
as
out.
well.
Mhm.
I'm taking 3.
I rolled a 5, so that's 8.
I rolled a 1.
Okay.
4. 7.
Do we have
total.
anything?
God.
Do we have anything in the word pool?
Oh, we've got
Mhm.
3 in the word pool.
Yes, and I got a 7 total.
So wait, what?
Okay.
I'll take 1 from the weird pool, so I reach a 7 as well.
Okay, so we're down to 2 in the word.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to take any.
How are you,
because
Brian?
I'll just fail either way.
Oh my god.
Okay. Brian. This hits you so hard. It's an innocent old lady. Is this something that happens in the Vale? You failed this thing. I would like you to take 2 soul damage,
Oh,
That's my soul crossed
and
out.
then I would like you. Yep. And I would like you to make for me a weird check. This will be the weird check that we are honoring from the previous charity. Just you on this one, no one else.
I got a 1 and a 6. So
Oh
6.
god, a 6.
ooh.
All right.
Oh god.
So you are frozen to this point yourself. Birdie, you're probably about to, Phoebe, you can see is about to stand up and do something as well. Tapia, you're like writing as much as you can, like, oh, this is exactly what you were promised. A miracle for all miracles. But Chuck, your American sensibilities are constantly intervening, come forth. I would like you to try and, like, again, trying to grapple him. He turns to you with the knife. This is going to be a threat challenge of 8.
Oh,
But spending points for anybody. There are points in the weird pools where you can spend it from a different. You can either add to or spend it from a different one, etc.
and what was the stat for this? Body?
Body, but if you take a point from the weird pool, you can be from any of your stats.
Right.
If you want
I have 5 in body right now. I'm gonna use 4 of those.
Oh dear.
6. So at 10 total.
Nice.
Coming in clutch.
Sports.
Yeah, this knife comes to you, and you are instantly like, absolutely not. You hit this man's hand. The knife goes flying. He sort of, and he goes to sort of grab you by the neck, but you sort of dodge and like holding on to him. This breaks the spell over the congregation. People are screaming at this point. People are rushing to try and see if Mary is still alive and try and pull her off. But next to you, you hear a voice, Chuck. And it's not the voice of Father Aloysius. You think this is the end. This poor man. I'm helping him. I'm helping them all. Let him go. And I can give you so many rewards. Much more than a lordship? A title? Why own one land when you could own the whole Vale?
I think this startles me, and I unless you're going to call for a roll here, I'm going to kind of get startled and let go and step back from the priest.
Yeah, you step back. Is there anything anyone is doing? I'm just aware of time. I want to make sure people get a chance to do one thing before we end the stream.
I think Brian is just
No.
trying to get Esther out. That's all he's thinking about.
Good.
Yeah, you there's a clamoring of people at the door, like trying to break open this this door. It seems to be locked beyond comprehension. You maybe lose Esther briefly in this crowd, and people are starting to push, and it's that pressure. But you manage to get out and grab Esther. You see, Joyce and Grant are on the other side of the congregation. Again, mixture of horror in their face. What about the other two? What are they?
Tapia, after realizing maybe this isn't like a performance or anything. This seems kind of real, and people are freaking out. Is gonna rush to the lady who is at the cross to try and free her.
I'd say for that, you're trying to fight against this crowd who are now pushing forward. This is going to be a pursuit check. So this isn't going to be from your body. It's only going to be a 5, but it's
Okay.
still quite people coming.
I will take 3 from my body then.
What are you
That's a
guys
5
doing?
for an 8.
Yeah, you again. Maybe you're used to this. You've pushed your way to the front of a sauna before. You're like, this is my time, and you swim your way through these people rushing up, and you can see like all these elderly ladies and men trying to they can't get her down. Looking at her, she is unfortunately dead. You can see the blood stain is quite severe at this point. It looks like she has been hurt in several places by various.
I look at Chuck and say, "Hey, American, this woman is dead."
Sorry, lost my voice for a second. Man, I don't. There's a lot going on right now. Like he just he looks kind of lost. When you look over at him, he doesn't know which way to go, like who to talk to.
I walk to him and I slap him to kind of try to jolt him back into place.
Yeah, no, that's to Chuck, right? Not to the father.
Yeah, Chuck. Yes.
Okay, good. I was gonna say, yeah, that can happen. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. When you do that, I think I lock eyes with you, and this guy, I don't know what's going on in this town, but this guy right here is definitely behind most of it. And he turns towards the priest.
The priest is now levitating.
Fuck.
You can see his hands. You can see blood starting to seep out of every sort of little orifice. You can see out of the eye, the ears, the mouth, a black, horrible tongue, blood. From the back, Birdie, you see Phoebe sort of look to you and go, "You're either with me or against me. We need to banish this creature now."
I think I'm against you. And she's going to just try and get out. She's not going to help Phoebe.
Sure. Make for me a threat test. 7.
7 from body, mind, or soul?
Body. Threat is under body, but there is, I believe, 2 points in the weird pool still, so you can always.
Yeah, I'm going to take both of those because I'm going to need them. So I have to roll a 5 or above.
Yeah.
It's a 6.
Woo!
I almost had you. Okay. You almost kick out. The dog Oscar comes out and bites her on the ankle as well. Chekhov's puppy. Let's go. Yeah, and you go and you are helping with Brian. Again, an individual that you haven't really sort of met, but you recognize them from the pub. And together with Esther and the rest of the community, it bursts out almost like a flood of people. There is a risk of trampling, but thankfully, all of you managed to get out and are broken from this sort of spell. You hear Phoebe scream in irritation, and she sort of turns back down to walk down the aisle towards where this levitating priest is. My question to Tapia and to Chuck: are you remaining in the church, or are you leaving?
Yeah, we're gonna take this fucker down.
Chuck would run at this point if Tapia was not sticking around.
Tapia's like, okay, let's kick this guy's ass.
Yeah, hearing that, seeing that, he nods. And is the knife on the ground still? Or did the priest pick that up?
It got kicked away a little bit, but yeah, No, it's like in one of the little plant pots with all the flowers and stuff. So yes, right
He-
close by. You can pick it up if you need to.
He definitely picks that up and is going to position himself to. I mean, the thing is, the guy's floating in the air.
Yeah.
Listen. I pull him down. You stab him in the throat.
Okay.
Go.
All right.
He runs
Yeah.
up, runs to pull him down.
Yep.
Oh, this is some final girl shit right here. This is
Yeah,
amazing.
Listen, we're at the end. Let's make it
I
What
fun.
I'd say.
if Tavia didn't have this sort of chill attitude about this, Chuck would be out. This is too much.
Okay. So what I would say is that because this is going to be the final roll before we sort of quickly wrap up. You have Phoebe comes to you, and you can hear her sort of whispering and sort of doing motions with her hands, and there's a sense suddenly of coldness around you, as though the priest is levitating, it almost slows as if he's going through treacle. So it is actually a little bit easier to jump and grab him around the legs. So what I'd say from both of you, it is going to be, because it's still body, it's going to be a threat check 7 for both. Of you.
Oh
So
my
individually
gosh.
you'd have to
So how did this work
Oh.
again? If I use up all of my resource, then what happens?
So if you've used up all your resource,
Or
you scratch out your body.
if I
you would
use to a roll.
have- sorry, just repeat that for me. Sorry, it came.
So
Just repeat that for me, please.
if I do a roll and I spend the remaining of my resource on that roll, that's fine, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's basically it's like you're on your last legs, and then if you were going to do it again and couldn't take anything, that's your character out. So yes.
Okay, cool.
Weird, right?
Can I help them?
Oh.
Well, how many points are in the weird pool still?
Oh,
I think it's-
absolutely
the sh-
none.
then
Wait,
you
what? Really?
cannot-
Yeah.
I used
they
both
used
of
the last.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No,
Then I'm going to use my 2
unfortunately-
body.
I'm gonna use my
Okay.
1 body.
Okay.
So what was the difficulty?
7.
Yeah, I have to get a 6. You have to get
I
a
got
5
to
or
get a 5 or a 6. Let's go. That's a 1.
Gosh. Oh no.
Ah,
6.
Okay.
Extremes.
So this is what happens.
Let's go.
Just took a photo.
You run. Like you are thinking about back to your sporting days, and like this. Your only plan is to grapple this man and pull him down, and you do so. As you do so, you look up and you see this body looking down at you, the head in a very awkward angle, and black gunk comes out of his mouth and spatters you completely.
Oh.
Gross.
Love
But you
that.
pull him down just about. Like it's sticky and stuff, but you pull it down just about. And then Chuck, you just all right. And your knife, the knife you finds true, with Phoebe doing a binding and stuff. And more black gunk comes out of Father Aloysius, out of his mouth. His form crumples to the ground. You step back. The knife burns. It almost melts away like acid with the sort of blood. You turn to Tapia, and you're like, it's not burning your skin or anything like that, but unfortunately, a little bit did get in your mouth.
Oh.
So, because we've got 5 minutes left, I'm going to go to the end game. What I'd like everyone to do is to roll me one final weird check. This is to show where you stand with Solemn Vale. Obviously, the higher the number, the worse it is for you. So roll all of your weird die and tell me what the highest is.
Oh, all of them. Well, it doesn't matter. I rolled a 6 already.
Yeah, there you go. I knew
Yeah,
that.
I rolled 2 6s and a 1.
I've got 2 points.
I got a 2.
3 and a 5. So 5.
I am the new Eldritch Lord of the Solemn Vale.
You know what? You're not half wrong. So let's start off with Brian. Brian, you are able to leave Solemn Vale. What happens to Brian in the coming days, weeks, or months? What do you think happens to it because you are able to leave this behind you with Esther?
I think that Brian has recurring nightmares about what happened. I think he tries to convince Esther to persuade her parents to leave the town. And I don't know how successful he is in that.
They don't leave.
Yeah.
There is arguments. You hear Esther on the phone late at night, screaming and shouting, and hearing also all horrible names, saying that she's been corrupted by that new fancy man. And how dare he come and take their precious princess away? And she stops answering the phone. And she is happy with you, and she never wants to return. But Brian, that voice doesn't go away. You hear it, not all the time, but every so often, when your masculinity is called into question. Only the slightest insult or a jab. Maybe you're on the tube somewhere or a bus and someone sort of gives you a funny look. You feel a flash of anger, but you're able to control it. But every so often you catch your reflection smiling at you, knowing that at some point, doesn't matter when, doesn't matter how, it will wait and it'll take its chance to make you do something that you will regret. Birdie. What happens to Birdie? Because we know a little bit that she's already in Solemn Vale, but she is allowed to leave now.
She's not going to, though.
No.
That's the worst thing about it. Maybe she has escaped the binds of the Coven of Five, or maybe, depending on Phoebe's fate, she gets a promotion into the Inner Ring. Regardless, she's not leaving Solemn Vale because she can't leave that house. She can't leave that behind.
No. And this is the thing. You are called upon by Amelia. It's been a while since you've spoken to her, but she invites you to a meeting. And you notice that Phoebe is not there. We found out that Phoebe had inadvertently summoned a creature which has escaped. And, well, let's just say Phoebe is atoning for her mistakes and will do forevermore. I apologize that you have been coerced into helping her.
Well, I was also part of her demise. So I'd say we're pretty even.
Indeed. She holds your hand, Amelia, and you see her chicken scratch along with sort of the scar of yours. If you're interested, there's quite a thing happening at the commune. I'd love you to come and see. Maybe you could, I don't know how you feel about revenge on one Wellman. But that could happen.
Your wish is my command.
Chuck. You Chuck. You also get to leave Solemn Vale. You do have a house here, though.
Mm-hmm.
Does Chuck leave?
I think that immediately following the events of this, he is covered. He is stumbling out of the church and does not know, can't really process what has just happened, and by nightfall he finds himself at the Blythe Manor, and he stays there for at least a few days, just in the darkness. And I don't know if he leaves. I think that eventually he does.
Mhm.
But he is not sure how long, how much time passes staying at the
Mhm.
manor. And when he, assuming he makes it back to South Carolina, he does not tell this story.
Also, there was a knock on your door one night, which maybe encourages you to go and go back home, in a sense. And it's quite urgent, like it's a proper sounding knock. And eventually you open the door, and in the light of the moon, there is a woman, much older, sort of greying red hair, in Wellington's big sort of jacket, her face creased with lines, quite set, her eyes not wide but sort of curious. She went, "Sorry, who are you, and why are you living in my house?"
There's a
Tapio.
oh god,
Tapio, we're running out of time. We've got to be quick.
yeah. Ooh.
You
No,
do not need to know. You have become the host of something. Well, you know its name, Abaddon. I would like to know what you would hope happens to your character.
I would hope that he causes a huge amount of terror and despair.
Yeah. Rumors of what happened at that Sunday service go around like wildfire. They don't find you anywhere. They find the sort of form of Father Aloysius, who is confused, scared, his memory patchy over the last couple of months. He claims that some sort of angel or demon was speaking to him, speaking through him, promised him so much. The death of Mary Fitzpatrick lies squarely on his hands. And so the church very quietly puts him away, sort of undoes his presence, the last thing he had after the little indiscretions that happened at his previous church.
Oh, God.
Oh no.
He, whilst we don't see it, you see, well, we don't see it, but the last you hear of Father Aloysius is tales in the pub of him going towards the sea on the coast and going into the water.
Oh, my God.
Tapia, you have a new purpose now. You actually find yourself causing this chaos. This is the thing, you thrive now on being influential. You'd heard of other writers, maybe you caught a glance of them in the pub, but you have a whole world you want to explore and write about and get more people to come to Solemn perhaps. But you know where you could go? You can go to London, Birmingham, and maybe preach the benefits of a sauna and get people into new conversations. Really connect with them and really preach the good word of a new religion, a new cult starting.
Can
The
I
world
have
is yours.
Can I have a catchphrase?
Of course you can.
With a more demonic type of voice that I will try to conjure up now.
Yeah.
Visit Solemn Vale, the first and only sauna in all of England.
Oh, the satanic sauna. Phenomenal. Phenomenal work.
And with that very unexpected ending, we were going to end today's story. Amazing work. Give yourself a round of applause. Thank you, my wonderful, wonderful players, and I appreciate we have gone over time quickly, so I will be very, very quick. We're going to go around once again in the same order we did our introductions to introduce yourselves again to this wonderful audience. Any quick plugs you can do, and then we'll go from there. So, Jess, my love, please introduce yourself once again to our audience and any
Yes,
plugs. Go.
absolutely. Hello, my name is Jess Jewel. You've been watching whatever that was, that terror. When I'm not busy playing in games by Fiona Howe, of which there are now many, I'm a producer for an incredible podcast called Three Black Halflings, which is
Yeah.
a podcast about diversity in the TTRPG industry with a specific focus on D&D, which is run by the amazing Jasper William Cartwright, Jeremy Cobb, and Liv Kennedy. Highly recommend checking it out.
I have been
Fantastic. Thank you,
Maddy.
Maddy.
Yes, you can find me on social media at Maddy is Abstract. You can also hear me as one of the core cast members in Realms of Peril and Glory, which is a fully sound designed, fully scored actual play podcast. And I also have my own podcast, A Game of One's Own, which is a solo and duet TTRPG podcast. And it will hopefully be coming back very soon. And we also have a live show happening at UKGE. So if you happen to be in Birmingham at the end of May, beginning of June, do come along and see a very chaotic seance take place with our special guests Nathan Blades and Naomi Clark.
Oh, yes.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you so much. Not futon, fondue. Sorry. What? Every time. Oh, so close. Fondue, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Fondue. I run a YouTube channel called Dice and Easy where I give you Foundry VTT tutorials, tips, and tricks. So if you're looking to up your Foundry VTT game, then check out my YouTube channel. That is Dice and Easy on YouTube and all the other platforms except Twitter. I'm Dice and Easy RPG because someone already had that name.
Gotcha.
And Ty, please.
Yes, I am the DM, host, producer, editor of the actual play podcast Side Character Quest, which specializes in doing single player quests throughout a shared setting. So you'll have 8 episodes following one character, then the next session you have 2 or 3 episodes following a different character, that sort of thing. Our next quest comes out this August, and it will be starring Joshua Lorimer, who is the GM of Titans of Altera and a player from the veteran actual play podcast Sneak Attack. It's going to be a very spooky, magical mystery. It's really, really, really good. And until then, there are 100 more episodes in the backlog. Go check them out. They're small, bite-sized quests, but if you like it, they add up to a larger story. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I will quickly go. My name is Fiona, and when I'm not battling internet gremlins and just going off my phone, you can find me on What Am I Rolling, which is a twice-monthly tabletop RPG one-shot podcast where we do lots of different systems, primarily sort of trying to teach different systems and also interview amazing game designers. I'm also, if you're like, there's only one RPG, and I'm like, okay, sure, it's their 50th anniversary, I guess. I also co-host the DM's Book Club, which is a weekly book club podcast about D&D lore and how we can improve it and put it into any story we'd like. We read the books, so you don't have to. And my God, there are so many books. If you have liked this story, if you please go check out Solemn Vale by Mark Kelly and Dirty Vortex. I think it's one of the most interesting folk horror RPGs out there. It's a very simple system, as you've seen, but the setting and lore, we barely scratched the surface, and it's delicious. I have previously run another game of this on Actual Play UK, which you can go check out if you'd like in your own time. And you might want to keep an eye on the Ware socials, because there may be another visit to Solemn Vale towards the end of this year. Please stay on this very, very channel, as we have an exciting game yet next up called of Star Trek Adventures with the wonderful GM Yalda. It is a game called A Curse Worse Than the Disease. So it doesn't sound too much of Live Long and Prosper, but that's okay. Also, if you are able to, please donate to our wonderful fundraiser we're doing today to support Doctors Without Borders. Every little helps, and we thank you so much for being with us. Thank you to our wonderful cast. Thank you to the mods out there. Thank you to our wonderful producer Nev, who's kept us safe and been amazing as a result. And enjoy the rest of the stream. We're going to wave awkwardly as we say goodbye, and thank you for visiting Solemn Vale.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.